All right, let's hit the go live. See how this does. I am dealing with a slightly different audio setup, so you'll have to be patient. I had a tip from Tremor that I should attach my mic to a... Shut the hell up, YouTube ads. Attach my mic to a different piece of furniture than my desk so you guys can't hear typing or vibrations. So we'll see how that goes. I had a tip. All right, we sound fine. Okay, we have a lot of replays to get through. Big old tournament tonight. Grace is going to come guess a winner now that I put all the spoilers away. Okay, hi.
Spoilers?
Yeah, not for you or me, but the bracket has some games done because I started the stream an hour late.
Oh, I see, okay.
But here it doesn't say who won. So Grace is here. She wants to pick a winner. I'm also picking a winner. I'm going with Dragonborn.
Okay.
I think he's going to win it. He's going to crush it.
Did I already vote for Lulu Snuggle Bun?
I don't think you did.
You know, I'm tempted to go with Dr. Nerd because, like, he didn't win. They didn't win, I guess. I don't know. They're the one time I rooted for them. But then they keep popping up. So I'm like, maybe this is the Dr. Nerd redemption.
They're around.
Lazy Frond. Is that a... Probably not. It just makes me think of Bob's Burgers.
Yeah. The only person who's not signed in is Reaper. So
Okay.
don't vote for them. They're not here. But
Okay. Well, I wasn't going to vote for him anyways.
everyone else is playing.
Wait, what is that name?
Pantalamino Panorenko. I don't know, man.
That's a commitment. Okay. All right. Lulu Snuggle Bun.
Lulu
You got
Snuggle
this.
Bun.
I believe in you.
The Lizardman expert.
Lizardman expert.
Lizardman expert.
Ooh.
Absolute Chad.
Is that actually true?
They play a lot of Lizardmen.
Okay. All right. Well, I believe in you.
That's
All
good.
right. Well, who are you going to vote for?
Hazel votes for Tremor.
Who's Tremor?
Tremor is the one that told me to put my mic on a different piece
Oh,
of furniture,
yeah.
but they're
I
also
see. Oh, I see.
right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that who you vote for?
It's a
What
bold
about
strategy.
The Moo?
The Moo doesn't give a shit enough about me to vote on anything.
Yeah.
All right, I gotta get this rolling if I'm gonna go to bed at a
Let's go in
decent
the
time.
heated
so-
blankie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Snuggle in the heated
Get out of here.
blankie.
Shoo, you rascals.
Goodbye.
Bye, Bubba. All right, so Grace predicts Lulu Snuggle Bun's gonna take it all. I predict Dragonborn. Dragonborn got to finals last new player tournament and then lost in finals, but I don't know. Looking at this crop, a lot of brand new players to my scene. I mean, maybe they're playing a ton of quick battles. I don't know. But I don't know. I just think Dragonborn's probably got it. We'll see. So, as per usual, there are 4 Swiss rounds. We'll cast as many replays as people feel like sending from the Swiss rounds. Then, after that, I take the top 2 or top 4, depending on how many people have high scores, right? If you have 2 people who have perfect 4-0 records and nobody else, well, in this case, there's bye rounds, but I'll get to that. Anyway, it doesn't matter. If you have 2 people with 4-0 records and everybody else is beneath them, then you can just do 1v1, who's the best of the 4-0s, right? If you have people, you have 1 4-0, then you have like 3 3s and then a 2 and a whatever, I'll take the 4 and the 3 3s and do a quick semifinals, finals, and do it that way. So, depending on the scores we get, we'll have a certain number of post-Swiss games, but we'll deal with that when we get to it. For now, we'll just cast some Swiss games, try and get everybody on the channel at least once and talk about their games, and if they watch this back, then they can get some advice on what they should be doing better or whatever. Plus, we just usually get some fun games, because new player tournaments usually have some wonk-ass builds. Whether people don't, whether they just don't know the meta, so they don't know what the super appropriate stuff is, or there's a lot of new players that just don't take the game super seriously and play whatever they feel like, which is also fine, if that's what you want to do. You quiet? Because new player tournaments usually have some wonk-ass builds. Whether people don't, Huh. When I turn my own audio on, it doesn't sound quiet to me. Maybe I just have the volume really high on my computer? Don't know. First game between Shocky and Dr. Nerd. And we somehow got Slanesh versus Vampire counts, which was the last game of the South America versus East NA, if you're watching that last night. It's a little bit of a rematch, though a very different take on it. For Slaanesh, it is a crap ton of cheap infantry, Hell Scourges, and basic Marauders. We do have some Chaos Knights of Slaanesh, Seeker Chariots, as well. The Eternal Entourage, regular Seekers of Slaanesh, and Nakari. Nakari is never the optimal choice. Never, ever, ever. But versus Undead and versus Demons, he is less trash. Because his heal procs off of entirely killing a unit. Undead and Demons, with their tendency to never rout and instead just disappear entirely, you can actually proc Nakari's heal. While chasing down a Shattered Empire Swordsman to kill every last model can be a giant pain for Nakari to get that heal. On the other side for Dr. Nerd, we have a Blood Dragon Vampire Lord up in the sky with Zombie and Invocation of Nehek. Do have 2 Blood Knights in the very far back, and then a gigantic blob. 3 Crypt Horrors, a ton of zombies, some Skeleton Warriors and Spearmen in the front line, a Mortis Engine, and a Necromancer with an Unholy Lodestone. Spooky. Spooky, spooky. Without skirmish cavalry of any kind, Slaanesh might have trouble getting rid of that Mortis Engine. They'll have to kill everything in melee first, because it was going to be hard to get to that little teeny tiny model. And a Slicing Shards is already down. A good cast right in the middle of the blob, and the blob has nowhere to disperse to, really. So that is going to do good damage. And on the backfield, Blood Knights are getting wrecked by Nakari and the Heartseekers here. And then they even get wrapped in by Devoted Marauders, so Slaanesh has better cavalry and infantry support. The Blood Dragon Lord, however, is providing that Helm of Discord debuff, and he's probably going to be landing soon. Celestial Shards did a bit of damage with the Mortis Engine, and the Necromancer's double healing aura will probably just negate all of that quite quickly. Nakari and friends loving life right now, though the Seeker is about to get going. That Demonic Instability is a cruel mistress, and the Eternal Entourage also getting very low on HP. Demonic Instability and Crumbling are 2 very different forces, and we see them in action right now as the Blood Knights have held on, have gotten slow healing and some invocations in the neck. Meanwhile, the Eternal Entourage and the Seekers fade away entirely at the slightest provocation. That's a bit of a disaster for Slaanesh. 1 Blood Knight does fade, proccing Nakari's heal, so Nakari will go back up to full HP. But a whole Chaos Knight is also getting lost to this effort due to the Mortis Engine and Blood Dragon Lord and Blood Knights grinding them down. Slaanesh has lost 3 cavalry pieces for the trade of 1 Blood Knight, which ends up being terrible. Slaanesh's front line is pushing through these zombies and skeleton spears without much problem. And without the Mortis Engine here, they're not getting punished nearly as hard, though now the Mortis Engine is coming over to say hello. Nakari is going to chuck out a quick Slicing Shards on the area, try and dodge with the Devoted Marauders to take a little bit less damage. And Nakari, I don't know where they're going to go, but they definitely don't want to fight Blood Knights all alone. That'll be a bad time for them. With only 15 armor, the Blood Knights can get a lot of damage out onto them. Another zombie summon is here. Balance of power is very much in the favor of vampire counts, and I do agree. Nakari dives in. I think he's going for the Mortis Engine to try and snipe that out and free up all of his infantry from its draining effects. We'll see how much it really matters. The Crypt Horrors are all still very healthy. So is the Blood Dragon. So is the Corpse Cart. And those Blood Knights. There's just too much left. Most of the damage obviously was in the 1 Blood Knight that got killed off. But then a lot of the zombie chaff has died. Slaanesh is crushing these chaff units. But the nature of chaff is to die. So a little bit of a who cares. Army loss is getting closer with each chunk Nakari takes. That's a very expensive character taking that extra damage. More zombie summons coming out to replace those that Slaanesh already killed off. And now Nakari's Demonic Instability hits, taking himself out, and that'll cause army losses for everybody else. Pretty sure. There it is. So GG. Round 2 is mostly completed, which is good. The rounds are pretty slow in new player tournaments, which is why we delayed the stream by an hour, so I don't awkwardly sit around waiting for replays. We can just get into the casts. Not a lot of value on the side of Slaanesh, especially the Seeker Chariot. Wherever that thing was, I didn't even see it enter combat, but it didn't leave combat. It died immediately. Nakari honestly did okay, considering how short the game was, but nothing else really got that much value. For Dr. Nerd, his Blood Knights did really well, Mortis Engine did well, Blood Dragon Lord did well. I imagine nothing else will really have crazy value. Yeah. I mean, one Cryptor did. That must have been the one that found the secret chariot somewhere. So GG. Hikari proving to be a little bit too expensive. I've been getting 10 hours of sleep for the last 3 days. Today that changes. Oh boy. Oh boy. That is bold. That is a lot of sleep. I mean, hopefully you needed it. Hopefully you're not oversleeping. Game 2 of tonight will be Tremor versus Mossi. Tremor is relatively new to my Discord. Mossi is an older name. Comes in and out. I don't see or hear from them for a couple months, and then they pop back in, ask me for some money, play a couple games, and then leave again. Always happy to have them when they're here. Not trying to disparage them at all. Whoa, spinning camera. All right, calm down. So what do we got? Tzeentch versus Kislev. Kairos Fate Weaver is banned for this tournament because I don't like casting his games, and I think he is very boring. So we do not get Kairos. For Kislev, we have 2 Horse Archer Skirmish Cav, 2 Wing Lancers, the Oath Brothers of Tor, an Ice Witch of Ice with Death Frost and the Frost Blades, and then a frontline of Zargard, a unit I have not seen in a life age. And then 3 Kossars with Spears and 1 Streltsy. On the other side, hey Will. On the other side, for Tzeentch, we have an Exalted Lord of Change of Metal with only Final Transmutation as his spell, plus the Fury Summon. 2 Zongors, 1 Chaos Chariot of Tzeentch, Marauders, some with Spears, some without. And then we have a Soul Grinder, 2 Skirmish Cav, and a Chaos Knight in the woods. Soul Grinder is going to put this Ice Witch of Ice on a timer. She has no healing on her roster. She didn't bring a Patriarch or anything like that. So unless she hides in the woods, that Soul Grinder is going to take her out in a set number of volleys. It looks like, about 8. So in 6 more volleys, she will be dead. Skirmish Cav Tzeentch moving up with their Heavy Cav. Wing Lancers could take the fight with them if they wanted. Maybe trade favorably into the Marauder Horsemen. And Chariots are ripping through the front line. Streltsy trying to aim at infantry can be tough. I hope soon that they just aim at the Chariot of Tzeentch and take that out instead. Zargard need to keep pushing forward. They need to get that Soul Grinder under pressure, or this lady just needs to hide in the trees. As for the Wing Lancers, when you have 2 Skirmish Cav and 1 Heavy Cav, you should probably just use your 2 Heavy Cav and take the fight. Because if the Skirmishers fuck off, then you'll 2v1 the Chaos Knights with Lances. And the Skirmishers stay here, then you'll trade up into them. I have 3 things. Nice. Meanwhile, the Oath Brothers of Tor have routed off a Zongor. Now they're stuck in Marauders with Spears, which is not a unit they want to be fighting. They should probably just straight up chase down the Soul Grinder of Tzeentch. There's nothing in the back line to protect it at all, and they have a higher speed. Well, actually, it's the same speed. That's kind of surprising. But yeah, they could run up to Soul Grinder of Tzeentch and force that thing down. Marauders of Spears are going to poke them from behind. The Exalted Lord of Change also getting into this fight. Unfortunately, these Horse Archers seem forgotten. Now, they are firing into Marauders and getting nice damage on their backs when they're not shielded and low armor. That's fine, but there's better things to be doing than killing Marauders. I like this Cav engagement a lot. We talked about it before, but just forcing the fight with these Skirmish Cav, you're getting good damage onto the Skirmish Cav, and your Wing Lancers are taking some damage, but that's just kind of the nature of being Wing Lancers at this point. Streltsy do take out the Chariot. Loving that, and the Fury Summon is about to fade away, but that Soul Grinder is doing exactly what we thought it would, and the Ice Witch is already routing. 1 more, maybe 2 more volleys will kill her off. The Oath Brothers of Tor are moving forward, and a big overcasted Final Transmutation hits 2 Zargard, which will be a decent little value. It's not amazing versus infantry. It's mostly kind of an anti-single entity tool, but it is what it is. These Skirmish Cav are doing good damage to these Marauders in pairing with the Zargard, right? I mean, the Zargard are obviously killing a ton of them. They're hyper elite and doing good work. Meanwhile, Streltsy firing at that Soul Grinder. This is nice damage you're trying to get out. Oh, but the Soul Grinder and then a Bolt of Change was going to finish her off if she didn't die already. But the Kislev Lord is dead. So they lost their Lord. They lost their caster. And their leadership will take a spike. Thankfully, with this build, you have a ton of super elite units between all the Zargard for your front line, the Oath Brothers of Tor, and then honestly, Wing Lancers are a pretty decently elite unit. It's not like we have anything that'll really break offhand. I do think Kislev's in a bad spot, though. These Chaos Knights being full HP in the late game is going to be very annoying. Wing Lancers are taking a lot of damage, so if the Oath Brothers of Tor, so a lot of your Kislev balance of power is in Zargard, which heavy infantry has almost no agency by default. They're slow. They deal good damage if you'll stand and fight them, but if Tzeentch wants to delay this game out, spam out Final Transmutation, cycle charge with the Soul Grinders and the Cav and stuff, while Skirmish Cav shoot at you, the Zargard are going to have a pretty bad time. So I think just a lot of agency was lost here. Oath Brothers of Tor now catching up to that Soul Grinder. Are going to surround him. They don't have a chill Frostbite or anything to slow him down. But you can see that damage we're getting out that we were talking about earlier. Unfortunately, they Terror out. But if they could have gotten onto the Soul Grinder, they could have gotten a lot of damage. So I think for Tremor, one thing I would mention about this game is the Oath Brothers of Tor fucked around and fought infantry for too long when they could have been chasing down that Soul Grinder and punishing that. Because Tzeentch had no ranged units, really, outside of their 2 skirmish cav, which if your Bear Riders attack the Soul Grinder right away, they just run at it. If the Chaos Knights come back to peel, well, great. Your Oath Brothers of Tor will fight them, too. They don't give a shit. They're anti-large armor piercing cav. They'll beat up those Tzeentchian Knights, no problem. If the Skirmish Cav come back to deal with your Bear Riders, that is a bit of a problem for the Bear Riders, but you could bring those Winged Lancers up and be annoying there. And if the Chaos Knight stops one of your 2 Winged Lancers, the other one can peel off the Skirmish Cav for your Bear Riders. So I think that would be better than fighting the infantry. Other than that, I liked your Skirmish Cav overall. I liked your army comp. I think the Zargard were interesting. I don't know if they're efficient, but I'm not much of a Kislev player. But clearly they're doing well in this front line. So that's going well for them. And I think your Streltsy and your Costler Spears had good target priority. It's just, you know, they got shut down, but I don't think that was a misplay on your part. So I think the biggest misplay was just where the Bears ended up being. Overall, the build and other stuff looked fine. For the Tzeentch player, I mean, it's hard to criticize someone who's currently winning, and I do think they have this game wrapped up. I guess if I offered one thing, it would be realizing the Soul Grinder was a really big win condition to snipe out that caster and keep something back. I would probably get a couple less Marauders and get some blue or pink Horrors, because those guys are just really good units. And this many Marauders, either Kislev also went with a cheap front line, you're going to be fine, or they went with an expensive front line, and having 7 Marauders isn't going to be different than having 5. So I would maybe cut some Marauders and get some ranged units just to defend that Soul Grinder in case of melee. Because also, if Kislev went with like a super degenerate heal blob with bears and stuff, I worry that the Tzeentch build might have had too much range. I mean, sorry, not enough range to deal with that. I guess you had 2 Skirmish Cav and a Soul Grinder and Final Transmutation, so you had some blob punishment tools, but I don't know. Blue Horrors and Pink Horrors can go a long way. Got some more replay streaming in here that I gotta save up real quick. Like I said, just saving up some replays and trying to make sure I don't save the same one twice. How do I tell Mal the number? Okay. Anyway. For the values, the Ice Witch just got killed off pretty much immediately. The Zargard honestly did fine. They held for a really long time and killed stuff, and they were still there at the end of the game when they just got army lost. Wing Lancers underperformed a bit, though that's more of my complaint about the unit than how they were used. Kossars with Spears got shut down by really nice Fury summons from Mossi, and then Chariot charges stopping them, but the Skirmish Cav paid for themselves. On Mossi's side, Exalted Keeper of Secrets did fine. Wait, no, you're a Lord of Change. Get all my demons mixed up. Soul Grinder did fantastically. Chaos Knights also did fantastically. Chariot didn't get a ton of value, but it was very disruptive to the backline shooting. Zongors did fine, and Marauders did okay. Marauder Horsemen did well, but like I was saying, I probably just cut these 2 Axe guys and maybe get 2 Blue Horrors. Try and save money somewhere else, but you get the gist. Elves versus Lizards. Oh my goodness gracious, these are small builds. Alright. Lulu Snuggle Bun, frequent flyer of the new player tournaments versus Flown. I don't know if I've ever cast Flown's games. The name does not look familiar, but Steam names come and go. But their Total Tavern name also doesn't look familiar to me. So we will see. Hiles versus Lizards. For Lulu Snuggle Bun, we have a Salon Mage Priest of Life with Awakening the Wood, Flesh to Stone, and Earth Blood. Look at that no caster build. I'll look at it in a second. Clostodon Hunters, the Shredder of Lustria, 1 Sacred Croxagore, 3 Saurus, one of which is the Legion of Chakwa ROR with spears. Then we have the Umbral Tide Salamander Hunting Pack and a single Skink Cohort. On the other side, for the High Elves, we have Dragon Princes, Illyrian Reavers, a Sun Dragon, a Prince on another Sun Dragon. Okay. And he just has the Blade of what? Blade of Bel Coradas. Interesting. And then for an army, we have Phoenix Guard, Lothern Sea Guard, Lothern Sea Guard, Lothern Sea Guard, Lothern Sea Guard, and Archers. A lot of Archers splayed out in a straight line. Alright. The Salamander Hunting Pack is having the worst day of its life, as it sallied forth into a ranged fight it had no business being in. But meanwhile, the Clostodon Hunters actually are in a losing position. Taking on 2 dragons at once, especially a Prince, is going to fuck them up. They'll need some healing pretty soon. The Salamander Hunting Packs are entirely dead. The High Elves are going to have to advance some of their melee units, though, because currently all of their archers are going to get compromised by the Saurus. Though, can the Saurus even kill this many archers? This Lizardman build is so small. These archers are just conclave firing into them. Oh my god. Clostodon Hunters already routed off. This Umbral Tide already routed off, too. Huh. Okay. Alright. Oh, sorry, 1 second. Boop. Okay, sorry. Someone was asking me a tournament question. So what do we have here? Dragon Prince is taking a Blood Statuette of Spite while they rear charge Croxagores, and they're doing really good damage to those guys as well. Though that Bound Banishment of the Salon plus the Shredder of Lustria going apeshit in here is getting rid of some of these archers rather quickly. The Phoenix Guard are very much ready to kill the Shredder of Lustria. They're very much ready to do so. Skink Cohort is fighting archers in the distance. And the Prince plus his other dragon are coming back to the fold now. If they have their breath attacks, these Saurus could be in trouble. And there is 1 breath attack coming out of the trees at a beautiful angle for such a breath attack. Good damage onto the Saurus Warriors, really liking that. And the Salon's trying to carry as best he can. Another breath attack's down from the other Sun Dragon. And man, the Lizards are in a tough spot. This is a brutal one. Umbral Tide getting pushed off by Illyrian Reavers. They will be gone. Sacred Croxagores are running. Saurus are running. A rear charge from Dragon Princes onto Skink Cohorts will get them routing pretty soon. And oh my goodness, is the High Elf all Archer, no Caster build gonna work? Is that no Caster? Does no one watch Hummus? Dude, no one watches. It's okay. They just listen to Pigman. It's fine. Archer's still firing in onto Saurus Warriors. The Shredder of Lustria going nuts in the back. It will kill the Dragon Princes quite efficiently, but it really needs to avoid these Phoenix Guard. The Salon's extra Blood Statuettes of Spite, the extra 2 he has, and his Bound Banishment, all those need to go into the Phoenix Guard. Because the Shredder can't deal with it. The Shredder has nothing to do with those things. Awakening in the Wood, poking down the Archers a little bit. Clostodon Hunters are back. And the High Elves are maintaining a slight lead on the balance of power, but it's not as decisive as I would think. Sun Dragon used another breath attack onto Legion of Chakwa, but this time they were a little more up to the task of dodging it. And a very wounded Sun Dragon versus very wounded Clostodon Hunters is a much more even fight than the last time the Clostodon Hunters got to play the game. And that is a banishment onto 2 Archer units. While I would prefer it on the Phoenix Guard, that is a decent alternative. I will accept it, even if I don't love it. Good damage onto the Lothern Sea Guard and such. Clostodon Hunters who do finish off that Sun Dragon down to 280 HP. We'll see if he comes back. The Clostodon Hunters start to run away from the Prince. They feel like they don't want this. And that Shredder of Lustria taking a lot of damage. He's trying to deal it back onto the Phoenix Guard. Can the Salon heal him up in time? He only has Earthblood for healing spells. Shield the Old One's giving him a little bit of protection. The Phoenix Guard don't do magic damage. Also, Flesh to Stone would give him insane physical resistance versus those guys. Sun Dragon might rally. We'll see. Archers are rallying across the back line, though they do have to be given new orders to attack. They need to turn back around and start offering some support. For the High Elves, we still have a very healthy Dragon Prince. We have a healthy regular Prince on a Dragon, and then we have Phoenix Guard still holding for now, though they might tear out at any moment from the Dread Saurian's presence. They are not ITP, so they might get running, but man, they've done a number on that Dread Saurian. Bounce power is back to even. And this is showing the beauty and majesty of having a caster. Casters can change so much. I feel like the High Elves have just been dominating so far, but they can't really punish their opponent with either healing themselves up or damage spells or something like that to really take their opponent down. Meanwhile, this Salon is doing some hard carrying, keeping the Shredder in this fight. Awakening the Woods, poking down archers, disrupting their formation too so they can't fire in time. No caster's always painful to see. It is. It was in my 5 tips to get more wins. Bring a caster was tip number 1. But that's what we're here for. We all learn. Dragon Prince is still trying to crush through these last Saurus, trying to get onto that Slon. The Prince himself is trying to kill off the Colossus Hunters and does terror out them eventually. And Dragon Prince is going to charge the Shredder of Lustria while he takes some arrow fire. But this Prince probably has to snipe out the Slon while the Shredder is busy elsewhere. And he is diving in onto Saurus Warriors, which will clear them out so his Dragon Princes can get a better surround onto the Slon. Trying to kill that guy off. No regrowth to bail him out of trouble, just Earthbloods, which take a lot of time. We'll see if he has that much time. The Shredder is facing the correct directions. Let's see if he wanders back over here. He finishes off a Dragon Prince. Maybe routes off some Lothern Seaguard with those little side guns of his, if any of them shoot at those Lothern Seaguard. And the Prince is chasing down the Slon, getting some good damage. The Shredder ignores his master's calls and instead goes to kill off some Lothern Seaguard of his own. Legion of Chakwa trying to chase the Prince. The Prince is trying to chase the Slon. The Slon is trying to chase the Dreadsaurian, so the Dreadsaurian actually helps him out. The High Elves do have some rallying archers around. But they're not feeling so good, Mr. Krabs. They're not feeling so good at all. If the Prince can finish the snipe onto the Slon Mage Priest, then I think the High Elves can still win this game. I think the leadership debuff of the Lizardman would be enough. Because the Shredder of Lustria doesn't have amazing leadership. It's still kind of a wild animal. And without a Slon giving a leadership and healing, it would rout pretty quickly. It looks like the Prince is actually just going to try and opt into fighting the Shredder himself. A bold strategy, Cotton, that I do not think will work out. 4,000 HP for the Prince to 4,600 HP for the Shredder. Despite its low percentage, it has such a high base health to begin with. It actually is more healthy than the Prince, and it's a better melee combatant. As it is whooping his ass, the archers are not nearly enough to provide support. The Prince is going down quickly, and the Slon is just fine. Archers firing in. Phoenix Guard trying to join the fight, but a little too late. Just not enough from the High Elves here. Archers try and protect themselves from the Saurus, but they are missing an awful lot. And the Shredder routes off a Prince. Army losses is on the horizon. And the Lizardmen tough it out from what was a very brutal start. But I think that is army losses. Yep. Lulu Snuggle Bun will take their first game. And I have a ping. What is it about? It is not about this. Hurtle. Diving the Shredder instead of the Slon. Oof. Yee. Slon, 2,300 value. Shredder, 3,200. 2,100 for the Colossus Hunters. Legion of Chakwa got 1,200 value, which was nice. Everything else got murdered. For Flon, the Prince actually got pretty decent value. So did his basic Sun Dragon. I liked their value a lot. Dragon Princes also did decently well, and the Phoenix Guard did fine. Lothern Sea Guard did okay. Archers did okay, but you have a lot of healing to deal with. And I feel vindicated, because I'm not trying to be an asshole. I will just plug my shit and leave. In the top 5 tips video, I did say you have to bring a caster. I also did mention the 3-to-1 rule of probably you want 3 melee units to every ranged unit, so you can better protect ranged units. It is better for 1 ranged unit to use all of its ammo than for 3 ranged units to do 1/3 of their ammo. So, 2 of my rules were shown in this game. Why I said them. The High Elf Army did fine, just no magic. Yeah, no magic. He played it good. I'll say that. He played it pretty good. He was pretty good about rallying his units after they routed and target selection, stuff like that. His army just put him at a bit of a disadvantage. Game between Lazy Frond and Dog Ruler. High Elves versus the Tomb Kings. A little bit more High Elves action. Apparently can never get enough. But Hummus, Love, and Seaguard are hybrid units. True, but I'd still rather they shoot. Alright, for the High Elves, we have 2 Flamespire Phoenixes, Tyrion, and a Mage of Beasts. Bold. A Flock of Doom and Curse of Honor. They're 2 good spells at least. I like that. 3 Lothern Seaguard, 2 White Lions of Krace, some Silvern Guard, and Spearmen across the front line for the High Elves. I was also sort of ready for him. We had to do a replay to do an illegal list that we realized after. Oh. Happens. It happens, Lulu. Any chance you collaborate with Falcon Paladin? I don't know who that is. Arc in the Black for the Tomb Kings. Then some Skeleton Horsemen on the flanks. We have 1 Ushapti Greatbow. It is the Chosen of the Gods ROR. We have the Chosen, the ROR Sprockle Stalker, the Eyes of the Desert. 4 Skeleton Archers, 2 Scream Skull Catapults, and a front line of Tomb Guard mixed with Skeleton Spearmen. And already the impact of those Ushapti plus the Scream Skull Catapults are being felt in 1 Lothern Sea Guard routing right off formation. High Elves starting to move in. Unfortunately for them, they do have a mostly defensive front line, so it's not like they're going to get through the Skeleton Spearmen rather quickly. And a lot of the Sea Guards don't have the DPS to outdo 2 Catapults, the Chosen of the Gods, and 4 Skeleton Archers. It will be on the 4 single entities of the High Elves to carry a lot of this game. We already have a bombing run coming in from Flamespire Phoenix, taking off a third of the health of one of the Archers before maybe diving in onto the Screaming Skull Catapults. I wouldn't hate for them just to go into melee with those Catapults and really put them offline. Careful about doing it in front of the Sporkle Stalkers, but you could have Tyrion run into the Sporkle Stalkers, and he'll do super great in that matchup. Sporkle Stalkers are decent melee combatants, but not amazing, and Tyrion is, in fact, amazing at melee. Flamespire Phoenix poops while it lands, trying to hurt those Catapults. Still a little bit more, and the High Elves are taking 1 flank, which is going okay for them, but it means they won't get through that front line fast at all. And the High Elf team is starting to fall back a little bit from this area. Chosen of the Gods still firing at them. Chosen of the Gods are not nearly as good versus small single entities like birds. They want to shoot at either gigantic single entities, their spread shot, every single arrow will hit, or they want to shoot at infantry and cavalry. Speaking of cavalry, Skeleton Horsemen trying to charge in here, though they do get caught on some Silvern Guard and absolutely massacred on the charge. Scream Skull Catapults firing into the trees. The High Elves are mostly safe there, though Arkin gets more Spirit Leeches on the Mage Priest of Beasts, and she's already below half HP with no healing. And that's brutal. Sporkle Stalker's also doing a lot to this Flamespire Phoenix. The Tomb Kings do seem to be coming out on top so far. Another Spearman has routed. White Lions also thinking about leaving soon. 2 Skeleton Horsemen will start crumbling. I doubt they will rally, so we are losing 2 Skeleton Horsemen for the Tomb Kings. Meanwhile, the Chosen of the Gods, Ushapti Greatbows, continuing to fire into all of these High Elf Spearmen. And the 4 Skeleton Archers are all fine. They're chilling. So is the Sprockle Stalkers. You almost completely lost focus with the RR Shopties. Yeah. Well, Dog Ruler, so far, this far into the replay, it's going pretty well for you. Chosen of the Gods are running a little low on ammunition, and now the Chosen of the Gods are trying to fire up and over a hill, which is a bad angle for them. They unfortunately need to fire at something on the same side of the hill as them. As you can see, most of these shots are just kind of spraying wildly into the distance. So that is unfortunately some wasted ammunition. Archers getting to fire in under the Spearmen. Only 40 armor. Silver shields, but still, only 40 armor. That will tickle them down eventually. The Hives are falling a bit farther behind. Is hanging out next to the forest that extent considered kosher? Not really. I would probably consider this forest camping a little bit. But he's trying to advance through the forest, and then his opponent met him, so it gets tricky, because it's like, what are you supposed to do? Run out of the forest while you're being melee attacked? So if his opponent wasn't trying to engage him, and he sat in the forest, then I'd have more problem with it, but the Tomb Kings ran up to meet them when they didn't have to. They had range superiority, so they could have just sat back and shot at them until... Again, if the High Elves sat in the forest while the Tomb King shot at them and didn't come out at all, then that'd be forest camping, but... It's a new player tournament. We try to be a little more lenient. Try. Arkin's going to charge into Flamespire Phoenix just a little bit. Archers will also turn and fire. And at this close of range, even a tiny bird model won't save you, so the Flamespire does start to dodge and does get into the air to get rid of most of the damage. And Arkin's going to have to pull back here pretty soon. He is fighting Tyrion and a Flamespire Phoenix. That is not a winning combination for him. He has to get out. High Elves still routing. Sporkle Stalkers are not in position to help Arkin with the single entities, and that could be a huge mistake. Meanwhile, a giant Flock of Doom hits all these archers. But Arkin, I don't know if he's getting pushed or if he's pathing that way, but he's getting farther from his formation, which is the exact opposite of what he needs to be doing right now. Tomb Guard and Skeleton Spearmen are overwhelming the High Elf lines. They're getting a bit clustered up. Some of them do have to just get orders to come back here, right? Some of them keep going forward, but others have to get orders to come back here. They weren't blobbed up at first, so I think this is just as the battle has progressed, they kind of got coalesced together, but that does need to be recognized and they need to be pulled out. Sporkle Stalkers, a ton of ammunition, so they're very well positioned to carry this game if they're needed, but Arkin has to get away. He has to get behind these Skeleton Spearmen and get Tyrion to run through them. Tyrion is a horse character. He has dog shit mass, so if Arkin can get into his skeletons, Tyrion will stop dead on them and just get poked down, while the Sporkle Stalkers hopefully shoot at him. You can see, now it's happening. Arkin can path through his own spears. He's not having the best time because he is also a horse character, but his own spears let him through much more than Tyrion. In the distance, the Shocky summon did come out. Now it lands directly on Silver and Guard, so it'll take a lot of damage, but it's a summon, so who cares? Tomb King's infantry pushing through all the High Elves' infantry. Their front line is winning. And the Phoenixes are continuing to try and harass this back line, though it has been to little avail. Both the catapults are still online. All 4 of the archers are still online, so they're doing just fine. Them's fighting words, yeah. A lot of stuff's routing. If those 2 Skeleton Horsemen in the early game had been a little more patient and they hadn't YOLO'd into some Silver and Guard, they could be here right now to sweep up these guys that are running away. So that is a bit of a mistake from the Tomb Kings that we would like to see fixed if, they play this matchup ever again. If your Skeleton Horsemen don't have anything to do, that's fine. Don't force them to do something bad. Just wait for them to have something to do. Like when stuff starts routing, they can chase it off. Flamespire Phoenixes landing in Skeleton Archers, but then other Skeleton Archers and Sporkle Stalkers will try and punish them for that. Flocks of Dooms are getting cast on this blob a bit. Now the High Elves are clumping up here. Curse of Honor here lowering all these stats, and the Tomb Guard and Chosen the Gods are getting whittled down, so the Tomb King's all of a sudden losing a bit of that front line. Tyrion's still just trying to harass Arkin here and there. He's below half HP. He does have his own heal if he gets too low. Though, as John was noting in the chat, Tyrion is a big fan of routing before his heal comes in, and then he's worthless. The Stalkers hate you and refuse to shoot Tyrion because he's short. Uh-oh. Yeah, that is pretty classic range against problems. Big volley there on the Flamespire Phoenixes, though. Another Spirit Leech onto Tyrion, and I like this a lot. Arkin immediately retreating back to his spears. That is the correct thing to do. You can see, once again, I just can't point this out enough. Tyrion and other horse characters stop dead on these spears, and Arkin gets away to safety. Sporkle Stalker's still pushing those Flamespire Phoenixes back, but the High Elf front line is withstanding the test of time with a bit of Flock of Doom support over and over again from this mage. And the Tomb Kings have to do something to change the course of this little fight here. I wonder if a Skeleton Summon behind the High Elves could lower their leadership enough to get them routing. Scream Skull Catapult's down to 4 volleys for 1. The other one is entirely out of ammunition. More volleys are hitting these Lothern Seaguard. I have to check something quick because I'm getting messages. Okay. What I'm worried about is not the case. Tyrion charges back into Arkin. His health threshold is very, very low, but it's not quite at that 25% just yet. Archers might tickle him down to it, though. I think we're waiting on Sporkle Stalkers to burst him past that point. Don't know. Why do I have so many messages? What is it? Dog Ruler's messaging me. Gotcha. TY. There's Tyrion's heal, and that's going to be a big problem. Spirit Leech poking him down. Archer still poking him down. They are getting good damage, but he is now much stronger than he ever was. And the High Elves all of a sudden have a lead on the balance of power. So many depleted High Elf units are hanging around. But they are still here. That is, in fact, true. How's our Screaming Skull Catapult doing? 1 volley left for him overall, and he is still trying to fire through those trees. Do Skelly Spears have Charge Reflect? I believe they do. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Those catapults got to use all their ammo. They did, though they were trying to fire through trees, a lot of it, so much of it got blocked. Archers still have a decent amount of ammo left, though one of them is crumbling, and Flamespire Phoenix is coming over to say hello. Sepulchral Stalker's trying to shoot at this Flamespire Phoenix, but they're trying to shoot up a hill, over some trees and spearmen, so they are obstructed, because obstructed is really annoying. Now the Tomb Kings are praying for some good RNG to get this rebirth not to proc and instead to just kill off the Flamespire Phoenixes, because they are very tired of dealing with these guys. But if Tyrion gets his heal proc and both Flamespire Phoenixes get their heal procs, the Tomb Kings are just going to be so fucking pissed. One Phoenix is down. Sporkle Stalker is getting to fight this other Flamespire Phoenix, though. Curse of Honor here is out, lowering our Sporkle Stalker stats so much they're going to want to back up and use their range attacks. Actually, yeah, that would just be general advice, is back up and use their range attacks. Tomb Blade of Arkan does need to summon some skeletons somewhere and just disrupt people. These catapults are all into the fight. Archers are unfortunately ending up in melee with Tyrion. The bounce power is getting worse for the Tomb Kings as these Sepulchral Stalkers fail to do any damage to Flamespire Phoenix in melee. Archers continue to poke at the bird. Can we get no bird heals this game? That would be a big boon for the Tomb Kings. But we'll see. Sporkle Stalkers are once again free. They need to turn and shoot the Flamespire Phoenix. I don't know if they have Fire at Will on, but very frequently I see this bug where a unit still thinks it's moving, so then it won't shoot even if it has Fire at Will on. There are the Sporkle Stalkers getting some good shots down on the Phoenix, and it does not get its heals. The High Elves unlucky 0 for 2 on the heals. So now the High Elves are just down to Tyrion, an almost dead Beast Mage, half-health Silvering Guard, and everything else is super, super low. Meanwhile, the Tomb Kings are relying on a Sporkle Stalker with a good amount of ammunition, some Archers who are feeling the burn, and Arkan the Black. Arkan getting a little closer to Tyrion than I would like, but he's going to back off now. He's going to back off. The extended warranty on your car insurance expired? Nah, dude, it wouldn't do that. Nigerian Prince told me so. Silver and Guard getting close to routing, but Archers ending up in melee with them is brutal. This one's actually going to get some point-blank shots down, which can be pretty good against the Silver and Guard. They do have 75 armor, even unshielded. Sporkle Stalker's trying to fire uphill into these guys just a little bit. Just a little bit. Silver and Guard getting so low. And I haven't seen a skeleton summon out of Arkan in a long time. There it is! And that's going to rout the Silver and Guard. Just so many enemies appearing on top of them and behind them is brutal for those guys. The High Elves are getting real low. We are on 13 minutes of a game, though. This is a long one, I will say. More Spearmen rejoining the fight, though they look like they're about to rout immediately. Sporkle Stalker's edging forward. Maybe want to get Tyrion here. And I wonder, another Spirit Leech from Arkan, that might finish the Beastcaster, but now both of those characters got red arrows onto them, and the Sporkle Stalkers are going to help peel. Looks like those Stalkers are aiming at, I obviously don't know who. These High Elves are intermingling so much, it's hard to tell. But Arkan drifts back out towards Tyrion. Is he going for a rear charge? Okay, I thought not. That was a little overbold. Tyrion's getting low. Everything else for the High Elves is routing, so Tyrion does have to attack something, just that the High Elves have someone attacking. It's pretty clear he's trying to click onto Arkan right now, but his leadership is wavering. He could get another Heart of Avalorn proc if he gets low, but not so low that army losses hits. Arkan's running back to his summon, which is a summon. It's fake. It's not real. And a Spearman, which is real. Sporkle Stalker's trying to fire uphill and over skeletons at a small Horsecaster. Tyrion's leadership is fading. He's down to 8 leadership, and Arkan is outside of the blob. If he can get one more Spirit Leech off, I think that'll be enough to take Tyrion down into routing territory. Meanwhile, the Silver and Guard will rally. Those guys will come back. And that should help the High Elf balance of power a bit. Arkan charges into Tyrion. Fate Riposte is up, though, giving him 96 melee defense. He isn't taking any shit from Arkan, and Arkan backs off immediately. Tyrion, surrounded by spears, taking some pokes from time to time, and if he ever gets free of the spears, the Sporkle Stalkers are ready to shoot. They're getting some shots off now. Big damage on Tyrion, but he gets another Heart of Avalorn proc. He is heal-capped, but he is safe. Archers trying to get these Silver and Guard to rout again. Skeleton Spearmen protecting Arkan as best they can, and Sporkle Stalkers getting another volley onto Tyrion. His Faint Riposte physical resistance did not help against that magic damage. And Arkan is really trying to charge up another Skeleton Summon, really trying to charge up another Spirit Leech. Meanwhile, the Beastcaster is gone. Everything is gone for the High Elves except for Tyrion and the Silver and Guard. But Tyrion's killing off the Skeleton Spearmen. A lot of the Skeleton Archers have faded away just due to the crumbling. And I'm getting beep beep boop boops of destiny. If Tyrion can get into the Sporkle Stalkers and Arkin is out of Winds of Magic, he can probably win this game. But if Arkin has a Spirit Leech or the Sporkle Stalkers get one more real volley off onto him, that'll just be it. And it is the volley that dooms him. The Tomb Kings win it in a risky affair, but they got it done. They got it done. Man, really tough there for Lazy that he didn't get either of his Phoenix's heals. Pretty solid damage across the single entities. For the melee infantry, mixed overall, and the archers had a tough time paying for themselves. Scream Skull Catapults really shut this one down before they even got into the woods. For Dog Ruler, Arkin got 3,100 value, 2,100 on the Purple Stalkers, 1,700 on the Ushopti Great Bows, and then both of his catapults also getting really good work done. So those range units, even though his opponent was in the trees, still doing what they needed to. GG. Stalker's half decent in melee. They're half decent, but Tyrion's like really good, right? That's my main point, is that Tyrion would be fine versus those guys. All right, I have 4 messages I'm going to check. Okay. I need to see what Shoxy said. Shoxy versus Harris. Great. Saving that up. And then checking the bracket. Okay. We have a lot of replays to get through. A lot of good games. I have heard this one was a stinker. It doesn't look particularly interesting. I am going to skip this one. The Chaos Dwarves win. Like, sorry, but it would be a triple fast forward game. But I was told the Chaos Dwarfs win. I could see that. It just looks like a blob of super elite stuff, and then the Vampire Counts don't have enough to deal with it. But we got to keep this moving. So I'll skip at least a game that I know is a snoozer. It was a good game. It was a good game. I liked it a lot, you guys. Good job. Next round, we have Tremor versus Dog Ruler again. Just playing these replays in the order that I saved them. Dark Elves Lizardman. And Tremor has a very raced-esque build here. Siren of Red Ruin, Bloodrack Shrine, not the Shrine, Bloodrack Medusa Regiment of Renown, post buffs, 2 Witch Elves for some Rampage, Frontline of Dread Spears, 2 Cold One Knights, 2 Harpies, and a Deathcaster on a Pegasus. This is a really meta build, and if you just want, like, wins, I really like this build. It's well put together. I don't know if they stole it from a streamer or if they thought of it themselves, but either way, it's good. On the High Elves, it is a little spicier. It's a little spicier. We have some Feral Cold Ones on the flanks, Skinks across the front line, some with jabs, some without, 2 Skink Skirmishers, a bunch of Saurus Warriors, 1 Solar Engine, Bastildon, Chord of Waddle, a Quaddle, and the Salon Mage Priest of High Magic with Apotheosis, Soul Quench, and then his Bound Banishment. Cool, cool, cool. What does that DP? What is that DP? What do you mean? What? What? Siren of Red Ruin, Medusa. Yeah, the Medusas do good damage now, especially in melee, but they're plus 30 bonus versus large. They can mess up giant monsters. Another Soul Quench gonna poke down the Sorceress of Death. And the Dread Spear frontline is getting massacred, so the Medusa's going to have to do something about it. And it looks like she is. Her first volley is very good. Dark Shard's trying to fire in now, too. Kill the cohort of Waddle. In the distance, Cold One Knights are getting to fight Feral Cold Ones. They'll win that fight, but this other Cold One Knight has to come in and bail out the Dark Shards, because the Dark Shards are in real trouble right now. The Dread Spears in front of them got massacred so heavily that they have nothing protecting them. The Harpies and the Cold One Knights have to become a secondary front line. Something is happening here. It's a Quaddle's Bound Lightning Bolt, I believe, and that does insane damage to the clustered up Dark Shards, but it is not one-sided at all. 1 Feral Cold One is already routing. A Skink cohort is already routing. The cohort of Waddle have taken a lot of damage. And aside from that, the Lizardman frontline isn't exactly tip-top shape either right now. Harpies diving onto the Salon. They do not get a lot of damage onto single entities, and they will get routed off by the Quaddle side charge quite easily. Crows of Cain fighting back against these Skink Skirmishers. We do have some stacking up of infantry, unfortunately, Witch Elves pairing Dread Spears to fight the Saurus Warriors, but that just spreads them less far. Cohort of Waddle getting a heal up from Apotheosis while Sorceress of Death fights them. She is going to take a lot of damage, but I think she's just buying time so the Dark Shards can fire in and get even more damage down onto those guys. I think the Dark Elf player is risking it for the biscuit, but they're trying to rout those guys off with the Shine of Red Ruin as well. Actual question is, was the Lizardman build legal? Not quite sure. First glance, it looks fine. I'll see it in the post-game screen. Fate of Buna is somewhere. Oof, it's onto the Court of Waddle. That's not a great target. It's better than a single entity, but usually Fate of Buna does more damage the more models there are to hit, up to a cap of, like, I think 30. So Court of Waddle is going to be an okay target, but she was just trapped in them, taking so much damage that she wanted to get out of it. Nasty Soul Quench hits the Dark Shards that are all clustered up, doing quite a bit of damage to them. The Crows of Cain are trying to chase in. Bloodwrack Medusa plus the Dark Shards have put a hurt on the Salon Mage Priest of High, and he uses an Apotheosis onto these Saurus Warriors, not himself. So he is at risk right now, as these Cold Knights are also streaking in from the other side. This could be the death of the Salon. And I don't like that these Cold Knights both took the same fight on a flank. They were already winning. They just weren't in position to help with the rest of the fight. But maybe they can redeem themselves in this late game. If they surround and kill the Salon, if these other full health ones sweep through some Saurus and Skinks, they could turn this game around. Sorceress of Death, she's too low on HP. Wow, she rallies with 53 HP. She comes back. That could be a game decider. If she just fucks off and stays in the corner so the Dark Elves don't take a debuff from her being dead, and you kill off the Salon Mage Priest of High, that could turn this game around. Salon's down to 2,000 HP and falling as Dark Shards continue to poke at him a little bit. These Cold Knights are getting a good surround, and the Bloodwrack Medusa is firing in on these Saurus. A lot of Saurus are routing, and I think the Dark Elves are in a real good position. If they can secure the kill on that Salon, I think they'll be just fine. But the Sorceress of Death rejoining the fight is scary. Spirit Lich on the Quaddle is fine, but she can't rout again, or she'll go straight off the map. Quaddle's taking some big damage. There's no Salon to heal it up, but unfortunately, so are these Cold Knights. They're taking a lot of damage. I don't know if it's from Dark Shard friendly fire or what, but they're taking so much damage, and they're not dishing out to the Salon fast enough. He's down to 550 HP, but he's still around, and the Sorceress of Death does rout. She hasn't taken any more damage, or of course she'd be dead, but she did rout. Dark Shards are trying to peel off that Quaddle, get him away from her so she can rally once more. 300 HP on the Salon, and a Terror Rout does hit the Cold Knights, pushing them away as the Dark Shards and Bloodwrack Medusa continue to try and kill that big toad. It is a race to kill the enemy lord. Deathcaster looks like this time she's doomed for sure. And the Salon will live to fight another day as the Court of Waddle with one model fight off some Cold Knights. 11 leadership on the Salon. There's no one nearby to keep him routing, so I think he'll be back. Unless the Crows of Cain get thrown into action right now and come fight that Salon, maybe they can keep him routing. I don't know if they can kill him, but they can keep him routing. Bloodwrack Medusa's moving up. She can kill this Bastiladon in melee if it comes down to it, but if they do a ranged fight, she's just too far behind on the health game. Dark Shards still defending themselves. Those armor-piercing missiles doing well, and the Sorceress of Death is officially off the map. It is for real. It is for true. Cold Knights fighting Saurus. They need to stop doing that and kill the Salon. That is priority numbers 1 through 8 is kill the Salon. Kill the Salon. Please stop fighting Saurus. Kill the Salon. They're so close to routing. They are fighting now just to stay alive. Meanwhile, the Medusa and the Bastiladon get into their fight. The Salon's down to 120 HP, and the Crows of Cain keep getting orders onto him, though they are getting distracted by some of this king somewhere. And the singular cohort of Wattle is trying to rejoin the fight. 84 HP on the Salon. The Harpies, one is still attacking him. The others are distracted by the Skinks now. More are starting to filter out. They're really trying to kill this Salon and lower that leadership, get rid of these guys. The Quaddle is back in the fight. Looks like he's going to take it to the Siren of Red Ruin and push her off. Dark Shards are getting pushed all over the map, and the Harpies, 12 HP on the Salon! They can't quite do it! And the singular cohort of Wattle is back in the fight. The Harpies' leadership is faltering. The Salon has 12 HP and positive 8 leadership as he rallies, and he throws an Apotheosis onto himself as Cold Knights charge at him. He's even going to throw out a Soul Quench to try and kill off the Cold Knights. Now he does rout again, and oh my god, he's up to 700 HP from that one heal. The Cold Knights have to restart their long process of killing this fat bastard. And they're trying their best as the Quaddle keeps ripping through Dark Shards. The Bloodwrack Medusa is routing off, and I don't know if the Dark Elves even have it in him, even if they kill the Salon at this point. He's back down to sub 200 HP after all that effort, but these little skink skirmishers are fighting back. There he goes. He has died. A leadership spike will hit the entire Lizardman army, though I'm not sure if it really matters. This could be huge for Lizardmen, actually. This could actually be, not huge for the Lizardmen, for the Dark Elves. If you route off these Skink Skirmishers with all this ammo and all this HP with a pairing of the Crows of Cain and these Cold One Knights while the Lord is dead, that's a pretty big win for you. 9 leadership on these Skink Skirmishers, but they're holding for now, and they got up to 24 as the Cold Knights are actually going to route next. Crows of Cain probably have to rear charge these guys while the Cold Knights are still in the fight, but it doesn't look like they're going to just yet. And the Cold Knights will probably be the ones dying. Dark Elves are rallying various forces, though. This is getting a little bit spookier for the Lizardmen, as they might be forced to just run everything down individually. Bloodwrack Medusa's even back. Whoops, double-clicked, which teleports me. And the Bloodwrack Medusa is vibing around. I do need to check on the bracket for just a second. Also need to let the cat out. Somebody else cast. I can let the cat out. Go, cat, go. Alright. Cat is safe and sound. Bloodwrack Medusa has rallied. Might want to go into melee with the Bastiladon, as he gets a really good shot out of those Dark Shards. My word. Crows of Cain healing up while they are in melee as they try to kill off these Skink Skirmishers. They'll get rear charged by these other Skink cohorts, though, and they are not loving that 0 leadership of these Skink Skirmishers, but they're going to hold for now. And the Crows of Cain will be the ones that rout, or will they? Or will they? They rout both Skinks. But then they rout and shatter. Oh, sad days. The Bloodwrack Medusa also shatters off, and all of a sudden the Dark Elves are looking a lot less positive than they were just a second ago. Dark Shard's firing at this Quaddle. Its weird, slithery body and its 25% missile resistance, keeping it alive for now as the Dark Shards try and get themselves a place in this world. Other Dark Shards trying to return to the fight, trying to get over to that Quaddle. But instead, they will stop and shoot at the Bastiladon, which is the correct decision. Their armor-piercing missiles should be doing good damage, but they're missing an awful lot. The Bastiladon did give them that debuff of their accuracy, I guess, but Jesus, that was still intense. Quaddle still taking slow poke damage as the Dark Shards are routed off. I'm going to ×2 for just a hot second here. Quaddle charges into Dread Spears right in front of Dark Shards. If they're ever going to hit their volleys, now is the time. Onto our Quaddly friend, as it slithers about, trying to avoid those shots. It is down to about 1,000 HP. Other Dark Shards rally too. Nice double volley in onto the poor guy, down to 750 HP, but a side shot from the laser crystal does get rid of that Dark Shard and shatters them too. Dread Spear's on the high ground fighting against Skinks, and can the Bastiladon carry with no ammunition? Oh, he's trying. He's going to charge into some spears, immediately terror routes them, and naturally routes them, which turns into a shatter. Dark Shards are trying to chase the Quaddle down to make sure it actually goes off the map. -3 leadership, so it looks like it will be taken all the way off, and the Dread Spears on the high ground finish off some Skink Skirmishers. It is 2 almost dead Spears and an almost dead Dark Shard versus 1 almost dead Dinosaur with no ammunition. Alright, Dark Shards, you have no excuse about accuracy or any of that shit. You should hit most of this volley. They hit a decent amount of it, but 5% physical resistance, 15% missile resistance is proving to be a hell of a drug. And now Dread Spears are charging forward, though they're going to terror out as soon as they even get close to this thing. And same with the Dark Shards, and I think that might army lost them. There go the Dark Shards routing, there go the Dread Spears routing and shattering. I'm going to ×3 this thing, because it is over. A very intense game between Tremor and Dog Ruler. Very, very intense. For the Dark Elves, the Cold One Knights and their Bloodwrack Medusa got really good value. Their front line struggled a bit more. Dark Shards got insane value. And then Dread Spears mostly just got shit canned. For Dog Ruler, his Slawn did fine. His Quaddle honestly did fine. Cohort of Huatl, not the Quaddle, did fine. Solar Dino did great. Saurus mixed. Feral Cold Ones got trashed on by those Cold One Riders. Skink Skirmishers did amazing. Skink Cohorts did fine-ish. Skink Cohorts did fine-ish. As for the build's legality, I don't see any issues here, no. The Jab Skinks and the regular Skinks are a limit of 8 combined. You have 5. And the Skink Skirmishers are their own unit, and you only have 3. So yeah, you're fine. You chillin', dude. Yeah, chillin'. So much to micro? Dude, that's what new player tournaments are for, man. Getting into the thick of it, learning the ropes. We're happy to have you. Okay. People are starting up their 4th matches now. So I might have to do some shenanigans in a second here, but for now we're still casting. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. This is a lot of replays. Normally I don't have so many friggin' people. What's going on with all these people? Alright, we'll keep casting them until there's finals to cast, so for now it's fine. Lulu Snuggle Bun versus Aya. I haven't seen Aya yet. I'll prioritize replays of people I haven't seen at all, so everybody at least gets one. Praise be Mighty Gary that's bestowed on. Dude, he kicked ass. What up, Mossi? Glad to have you back. We saw Lulu Snuggle Bun earlier with, I think, the exact same build. No, they have 2 Croxagores now. Okay, similar build. Versus Aya with a Chaos Dwarf build that seems pretty well put together. I like it. I like it. It's good. For Lulu Snuggle Bun, we do have the Colossadon Hunters, 1 Skink Skirmisher, 2 Croxagores, one of which is sacred, one is not. Shredder of Lustria, Salon Mage Priest of Life with Awakening of the Wood, Earthblood, and Flesh of Stone. And then 3 Source Warriors, one of which is the Legion of Shocky. On the other side, we have a Sorcerer Prophet of Metal with only Searing Doom for his spells. Frontline of Chaos Warriors, a Kadai Fireborn, 2 Chaos Dwarf Blunderbusses, 1 Infernal Guard Fireglaves, and then 4 Orc Laborers. Casual Fried Egg Enjoyer? Well, any turn refugees are welcome. You are welcome. Though you do, of course, have to unsubscribe from his channel to even be here. That's the YouTube law, so, like, you just have to. You just have to. No, we're happy to have you, even if you are temporary. What up, Way? How you doing? Front lines are colliding. Now, these blunderbusses need to be firing at the Shredder or at the Slon. They need to focus fire down one of those 2 big single entities. Unfortunately, some of them are firing at the Legion of Chokwa for now, but they really do have to focus fire, and the Shredder is coming straight back here. Kadai Fireborn will have to be thrown into the fire in front of the Shredder and just block him in so that the other stuff can shoot. Sacred Croxagore is pathing straight through these Orc Laborers and going straight for the Infernal Guard of Fireglaves. I'm really liking Lulu Snuggle Bun's target priority right now. Realizing that the frontline fight literally doesn't matter, and all you need to do is to shut down these ranged units to win the game. Colossadon Hunters are distracted by the Sorcerer Prophet of Metal. I'm liking that a lot from Aya, getting away from those things, but also keeping that expensive unit off the field of battle. And you'll loop back around later. The Sacred Croxagore is getting gunned down by these Chaos Dwarf Blunderbusses, and a Searing Doom is cast? No, what is that? That's a Bound Banishment from the Slon. It'll do some damage to his own Sacred Croxagores, but it'll mostly hit Chaos Dwarf units, so overall it's a pretty darn good banishment. 1 Croxagore is already gone, though. That's a pretty huge loss. And the Shredder's trying to rat off these Chaos Dwarf Warriors and Infernal Guard, though Infernal Guard will be a much tougher cookie to crack. Searing Doom is back in as the Sorcerer Prophet rejoins the fight, and all of these ranged units now focusing onto the Shredder of Lustria. He has a little bit of missile resistance, but if he doesn't have Fleshed Stone up from his Slon, he is actually rather susceptible to this armor-piercing fire. Infernal Guard's trying to fight the Slon Life Mage, while these other blunderbusses shoot at the Shredder of Lustria. I really don't think you can afford to spread your damage like that versus a healing faction. You gotta pick a target and you gotta kill it. You can't half kill this, half kill that, because then they're both just going to heal back up to full. You gotta finish your food. Another Awakening of the Wood going to hit a lot of units. So for the Chaos Dwarves, overall they've played this pretty well. I'm really liking it. A couple things to note is there is too many blobs going on, and their ranged priority is a little weird, in my opinion. Like I said, they're not focus firing, but even when they're not focus firing, now they're shooting at Colossadon Hunters, which they're getting some decent damage, but the Shredder is a bigger problem for your ranged units. And these ranged units need to be shooting at the Shredder or at the Salon. Whenever the Shredder picks a target, the other 2 need to be getting damage out, but all 3 are kind of running at the same time, so we gotta fix that. The Kadai Fireborn paired up with Chaos Dwarves is winning the front line in certain areas. For Lizard, we are down to 2 half-health Saurus units, a Cost 100 that's almost dead, and the Shredder of Lustria is taking damage. I don't know how much healing he has received, but Earthblood is now on cooldown because it was just using that Cost 100, so we know it's not here. These other blunderbusses are being forced to run away from Source. That's good priority from Lulu Snuggle Bun. And now we're seeing the problem with why I don't like this that's happening. If one of these units was over here helping this Chaos Dwarf Warrior kill off those Source or be in the way or something, if one of those guys was over here to peel for these guys, but like all these melee units are in the same spot, and sure they're beating up that Croxicor, but it's just too many units to fight this one guy. Maybe the Kadai Fireborn and one Chaos Dwarf Warrior can be here, but not all of these guys. That is unfortunately going to be a costly mistake for the Chaos Dwarves. Infernal Guard are back. Blunderbusses are back. They could turn and shoot at the Clostodon Hunters or the Shredder or something. And I'm liking how evasive the Sorcerer Prophet's being. He's never been left standing still to just get murdered by the Clostodon Hunters. That's good. I don't want to just criticize. Guns are turning to rip apart these Clostodon Hunters. They will not last very long if those guns get a fire in. Yeah, they're getting massacred right now. So they'll get peeled off soon, but the Shredder has bailed out those Croxigors, and the Slon is doing just fine, so I think both sides are going to reset. I think the Lizards are much more happy to reset than the Chaos Dwarves are. Because now the Chaos Dwarves are missing most of their front line, so these Chaos Dwarf Blunderbusses get like 1, maybe 1.5 volleys before the Shredder hits them, and then they're shut down. What up, Caleb? Yee. Alright, Croxigors are here to shut down these blunderbusses. Infernal Guard with Fire Glaives trying to kill the Clostodon Hunters once and for all so their Lord can just breathe a little bit easier up in the sky. On the Lizardman side, their Swords have taken a meaningful amount of damage. The Lizards are quickly coming to rely on just the Croxigors and the Dread Saurian, though I think that's honestly going to be enough. There's really not a lot of DPS left in the Chorfs. There's these Infernal Guard, which are close to being shut down any second here. And then there's this Blunderbuss, which is safe for now, but for now is kind of doing a lot of work in that sentence. Infernal Guard trying to turn. I don't know if they're trying to shoot at these Clostodon Hunters, if they're just reforming after routing, but now the Shredder is here, and they're probably not going to be able to fire again. Slunch was S tier before they got nerfed into the ground. Yeah, they were a little too good in domination, and then CA looked at them, and Thanos snapped them into oblivion. Alright, Infernal Guard getting chased down by the Shredder, so they won't be participating in the rest of this game. Can this Blunderbuss and the Sorcerer Prophet of Metal carry this game? I am suspect. The balance of power is inflated by a full health Slon when Slons matter the same at 1/10 HP as they do at full, right? Blunderbuss is going to turn and fire at this Slon. I wonder how much they can do. They're at half DPS, but Blunderbusses have insane DPS, so even at half of their model count, they could still do okay. Ooh, that Blood Statue is going to kill a lot of models, though. They don't have a ton of HP left, so they're going to start dropping bottles like flies. One Blunderbuss is still safe, trying to come back. And a Breath Attack onto the Slon. He was mostly moving during it, though, so he avoided a lot of the damage. Chaos Dwarf's trying to rally, but time is on the Lizardman's side. More time equals more healing. I'm going to fast forward just a little bit as we do this kind of recalibrating thing. Blunderbuss is moving back up, but they have a catch-22. Either shoot at the Shredder, which is going to come straight at you, and it gets healed by the Slon, or shoot at the Slon and ignore the Shredder, and the Shredder's going to get here and tear you apart, which he does. So now our Blunderbusses are about to be pushed away. Infernal Guard going to shoot at the Shredder for all of 20 seconds before that thing comes for blood. And they are getting good damage down, like we said. Ooh, and the Chaos Dwarf Sorcerer Lord lands on the Slon, getting decent damage down. The Croxigors are ignoring him for now. He's already half health the Slon. And the Infernal Guard are firing at those Croxigors. The Blunderbusses are firing at the Shredder. The damage is getting really spread out. It is a lot of damage, but it's getting spread out over too many targets. You can't finish anything. Blunderbuss is turning to fire at the Shredder once again, but the Slon is actually going to try and disrupt them. Not what you're used to seeing, but he is here to try and disrupt them. And the Chaos Dwarves are mass routing away from the Saurus. Another Searing Doom is cast on these Croxigors. Try and get some poke damage on them, and to be fair, we'll get a little bit of poke damage, but not a ton. The Blunderbusses are routed, and at any point here, the Sorcerer Prophet of Metal is going to have to land, and he will get killed off by the Shredder very quickly when he does so. He's trying to land on the Slon, though the Slon's toilet seat can be really tricky for flying models to accurately land on. The Shredder gets some good hits, and army losses will take the Chaos Dwarves away Tell me there was a final trans. There was not. Okay. I do have to pause in the casting of replays to get finals set up for us. So 1 second, we will be doing some math here real quick. So you are not bored, I will do the math with you. But if you're super paying attention to who all these replays belong to, you will get some spoilers. All right. Okie dokie. All right, let's do this. So I know these are unreliable, so we're just gonna have to do it by hand. Dragon, hard, V, lazy, dog, Lowry, Harris, Tremor, Mossi, Pent, Lulu, Shocky, Nerd. I know Nerd has to go to bed, but I still just need to do the scores. So Dragon has 0.5, Hard got 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Round 2. Dog Roller got 1. The Epic Dwarf got... Where the hell are you now? 1. Harris got 1. Harris is killing it for somebody I've literally never seen. Dragon got 1. Shocky got 1. Lulu got another 1. And then Hard to Come By got 0.5 for the buy round. Round 3, I know there's one that's incorrectly reported, but the players told me about it, so it's fine. Dog got another one. Dragonborn, that one is the one that's incorrectly reported, so Hard to Come By actually got another win there. And then Harris got another one. Dr. Nerd, there you are, got another one. And Lowry got 1, where Tremor got the 0.5 for the buy round. Then the final round is coming in. We have Dragonborn with another 1. Harris and Lazy's not reported yet. Dog and the Epic Dwarf's not reported yet. Lulu Snuggle Bun gets a free 0.5 for a buy round. Mossi gets 1 for a dub. Shocky gets 1 for a dub. And Hard to Come By is still working on it. Refresh bracket. See. Alright, Lazy got 1. Okay. And then let's do equals sum. Alright, where are we at? There's the sum for everybody. I'm waiting on Dog Ruler, the Epic Dwarf, Hard to Come By, and Lowry. Okay, so who's standing out to us? 2.5, 3, 3, 3, 2.5. Those guys are my current tops. So let's highlight them. Really? Really? You're crashing because I wanted to highlight? There we go. And then are any of them still in? The Epic Dwarf could still get points. Dog Ruler could still get points. But they can only get points versus each other. Okay. Hard to Come By can still get points. And Lowry can still get points. But Lowry, even if they win, will not enter the top 5. Okay. So Lowry's out. Lazy's out. Hard to Come By. Where the hell are they? Oh, they could get 1 more point, so I'm not going to put them out yet. Tremor's out. Sorry, Tremor. You tried, you did good. Pant is out. Mossi is not currently in the run to get more points, so Mossi's out. Shocky and Nerd. I know Nerd had to go to bed, so that's fine. But Hard to Come By could tie up the 2.5, and then we'd have 6 people, which would be a pain in the dick. So for scheduling purposes, I'm rooting against Hard to Come By. Not trying to be an asshole, just for scheduling. Okay. So Hard to Come By and Lowry is really the only game that matters here. Dog Ruler and the Epic Dwarf is just for bragging rights, but both of them are already tip-top shape here. Yeah. Okay. So let's make a quick temporary bracket just in case. Dragon versus... Who's the fighting dog? So it's Dog Ruler or the Epic Dwarf? Okay. Dragon versus Lulu. They're both 2.5s, so that's fine. Dragon versus Lulu, and then we'll have Harris versus Hard? No. It'd be Harris versus the... And then Dog versus Hard. If Hard to Come By wins. If Hard to Come By loses, then whoever got the win between Dog and the Epic Dwarf just gets a bye round. Okay, so we'll see how that pans out. Getting to the end. Stand by for finals placements. That's lazy. Just pointed something, but okay, his game's already done, so we're fine. Bear and Lulu can play for post-Swiss thingy. Because I know those two are going to get matched up. This one, these 4 players gets determined by the outcome of these 2 games. But I know Bear and Lulu can get playing. Sorry, I say Dragon because he's Dragonborn here, but in Discord he's Bear. It's a whole fucking thing. All right, let's cast one more game while we wait for these results to come in, right? Sorry for the delay, everyone, but I got to keep the tournament moving so that these players, the ones who aren't still in the tournament can get to bed, and the ones who are still in the tournament can get on with it so they can get to bed. So let's cast our next game while we wait. Shocky versus Mossi. Slanesh versus Zinch. That is delicious. Delicious blackberry wine. Callum, have we had any Slanesh players today? We did have Shocky earlier, and we have Shocky right now, so you're in luck. You're lazy, you've got 2 wins? Oh, you've got 2 wins. And the Epic Dwarf only has 2 wins, is what you're saying. Oh. Okay, well that's spoopy. Okay, wait, sorry. That actually affects a lot of things. So the second one was misreported, so the Epic Dwarf's actually at 2 wins. So if Dog Ruler beats him, the Epic Dwarf is out. The Epic Dwarf beat Dog Ruler. Okay, so in a weird way, great. Because then I didn't just completely fuck somebody over because I had misinformation. So Dog ends at 3, the ends at 3. So all I need to know now is if Hard to Come By is still in it. Okay. Sorry for pausing the game. I know that pisses some people off, but tournament organization comes first so that I'm not holding up 6 or 7 people who want to go to bed, right? I have tomorrow off of work. I can finish this stream as late as it takes. It doesn't matter. But for the players, I'm going to keep this on schedule. Epic Dwarf versus Dog. Gotcha. Thanks, Dog Ruler. Thanks. Okay, cool. You guys are still with me in the game, right? Yes, perfect. Okay, so for Shocky Slanesh, do have Devoted Marauders with Spears as a front line. We have 2 Exalted Demonettes of Slanesh, one of which is the Bringers of Beguilement. We have the Mirror Guard, Nakari yet again, and one of you in chat was reminding me, yes, I think that is why Shocky's playing Nakari all of a sudden, is because of the buffs to their charge. I think they're just doing what they want to do. That's kind of been Shocky's style. Shocky always just plays what they feel like and hopes for the best. On the other side, We have Marauders of Tzeentch, Blue Horrors, a ton of Blue Horrors, a lot of Marauders. Looks like one Screamer. Is there one beneath my screen? No, just one Screamer. Village the Curseling with pink and blue fire. More Marauders in the backline. This is as many Marauders as you can shove into a build. Aecold Hellbrass, a single spawn, and a single Chaos Warrior of Tzeentch with halberds. Okay, sorry. Chaos Knights charging in, getting good damage. They will have to charge out pretty soon. They don't want to sit on these spears forever, but for now it's going okay. Nakari is going to be super happy to fight Blue Horrors because he can get his heal proc off of getting them to demonic instability. And that will be just fine. Aecold might have something to say about it, though, and the other Blue Horrors might also have something to say about it. Ooh, and Aecold's double nasty. With the Thorn's Aura, the -8 leadership could actually be brutal for Nakari if Nakari takes more damage. Already down to 40 leadership. That's spooky when you're talking about demonic instability, right? You don't want to be close to your leadership at all. Chaos Knights of Slaanesh starting to fall back, though the Tzeentchian front line has taken a pounding. A lot of health bars are dipping despite their barrier support. And wherever the Exalted Demonettes go, I feel like a lot of damage is going to come out. And they've been held in reserve. It looks like Shocky didn't want them anywhere near the blue Horror Fire or pink fire from Village. So they've been rather delayed. Nakari's taken damage, but for now, it might be okay. If they can get these Blue Horrors to Demonic Instability Crumble right next to them, Nakari can get that heal. There's other Blue Horrors fading away over here. I don't know if that's in Nakari's heal range. It's hard to tell what that could be. Nakari's taking big damage, though. If Thorn's Aura is up, Nakari's going to start Demonic Instability Crumbling, and that is terrible. Nakari did not get the heal from that other Blue Horror, so he needs the heal from this one. It is fading, but is it fading fast enough to heal him in meaningful time? If that Demonic Instability starts for Nakari, Nakari will just die. No healing can overcome that. But boom, there's the heal he so desperately needed, and it does keep him in this game for now. Meanwhile, the front line's going great for Slaanesh. Exalted Demonettes are doing fine. The Marauders are doing really fine. Unfortunately, the Chaos Knights of Slaanesh are taking a lot of damage, and that is not good. But other than that, things are going okay. Nakari taking this much damage is really affecting the balance of power. But as we've established, Nakari can kind of heal up pseudo, and if they start cycle charging rather than staying in a fight, they'll be okay. The Slaanesh frontline is really doing quite well. So as long as Nakari doesn't die, we'll be all right. Big pink fire onto the Exalted Demonettes and the Devoted Marauders. The Exalted Demonettes are super happy to be fighting these Chaos Warriors of Tzeentch. Especially Halberd variants, they're just totally fine with that. Chaos Knights of Slaanesh probably need to turn into routing cavalry at this point, where they just chase off anything that's routing. And the Bringer's Beguilement surrounding Aecold could be a terrible time for the champion of Tzeentch here. He might be, in fact, super spooked. If he gets down to that first Rampage threshold, I think he'll just die 100-0 in this unit. Now, a lot of the Blue Horrors are already dead, so Nakari is unfortunately living the mortal life of trying to kill an entire mortal unit, and that takes a while. Nakari's doing his best. Does he at least have the Soul Siphon Mortis Engine? Yeah, he has the Mortis Engine, so that at least is going to help him kill off these Marauder Spears. 650 HP left on them till he can get his first heal. But there it is, the Rampage onto Aecold and these Marauders of Tzeentch with spears. Big damage coming in on these guys, and Slaanesh is really hanging in there. Chaos Warriors with Halberds routing off, Marauders of Tzeentch with spears routing off, Chaos Spawn taking a bunch of damage, and Village is soon to be left all alone. Chaos Knights should, like I said, focus on chasing stuff off. At that low of HP, their cycle charging really isn't going to matter that much. I'd really prefer that they just keep the Tzeentch units off the field of battle. Another giant pink fire comes through, hitting these Exalted Demonettes, and their HP is not looking so hot. They're mostly kept alive right now in the leadership department by winning in their current melee combat. They're just bodying all these fools. Nakari's still trying to kill some Marauders. He is close to shattering them, but you need to kill him. You don't need to shatter him. Leadership's dipping. He'll get a nice big heal soon. The Exalted Demonettes are chasing off some Marauders of Tzeentch. Screamers have rejoined to the fray, though if those Screamers dive into Exalted Demonettes, they are going to get instantly shredded. Are these fight lives or replays? Replays, unfortunately. But live has its own downsides. Replays, we can cast some more stuff. Alright, Nakari did get a nice, big, juicy heal, and it's still rising. Fascination trying to do some damage to those Screamers. In case they feel like fighting Nakari, they'll have to do it without shields, maybe a bit of damage on them. And the Exalted Demonettes Regiment of Renown is trying to run out and help Nakari. Now the Chaos Knights of Slaanesh look like they were chasing down some Marauders for a bit. trying to charge up that Slanesh army passive, route some other things. More Exalted Demonettes staying in the fight. Once again, at that low of HP, I get very concerned, but Exalted Demonettes are usually actually pretty good at staying on the battlefield until they're just about dead due to HP anyway. Nakari might want to take a fight with these Screamers. If he can rally with these Bringer's Beguilement, that could be a nice free heal for him. It's not like his thing has any cooldown. Well, it does, but he's past it already. Village is still chilling for now, but now his Chaos Spawn have died off. And what is that? I thought I saw a weird thing, but I guess not. Nakari thinking about charging in. Going to rear charge some Marauders of Tzeentch. That should route them off almost immediately. And Nakari does have the Wit Stealer stored, getting them up to 1,000 weapon strength. Big hit onto Village on the charge, and immediately terror routes him. If they can turn it into a real route, that would be huge. But then Nakari just fucks off. Comes in, does 1,000 damage on the charge, refuses to elaborate, and leaves. That was beautiful. That was beautiful. I loved it. Now, the Screamers and Aecold do destroy this fight a bit. They're going to get rid of these Exalted Demonettes. They're going to get rid of the Devoted Marauders, but there is the Rampage from these guys, and that should kill off the Screamers. Please, Nakari, come back and get the free heal. Nakari, come back! No! Nakari's trying to get his heal off these Marauders with spears. I guess that's fine. It works. Same heal either way. And now he does need to come back to the fight. Maybe even he'll get a double heal. If this one fades out and the cooldown comes up before those Screamers actually die, Nakari could get a huge double heal, and that would be big in this game. Rear charge in from the Chaos Knights of Slanesh. Going to try and rout off these Chaos Warriors of Tzeentch with halberds. And a Pavane of Slanesh is cast on the Screamers to keep them rampaging, but also just to deal damage. Nakari has to come back, though. Nakari has to get in range. And the heal cooldown is done already. So Nakari's heal is ready just as the Screamers are about to die. Nakari's about to get a brutal double heal that could end up winning this game for Slanesh. Nakari's here. The Screamers are dead. Another big heal. 3,000 HP on the board for Nakari. Thorn's Aura trying to lower the leadership of stuff might rout off some of these Marauders with spears. But Tzeentch is running out of tools. They have two single entities as Nakari gets a nice lash and a charge into these spears, routing them off. Good stuff here. Maybe trying to buy time as the Wit Stealer sword comes off cooldown and using their Mortis engine to damage these spears or something. I don't know. Actually, it looks like they're just refreshing the charge bonus over and over again. Though with the charge bonus of 40, that's kind of a big who cares. Nakari is back in. Pink fire goes through these Exalted Demonettes and whatnot, but Village is getting pretty low. Aecold is still full HP, and Nakari plus the Chaos Knights are going to go dive these Marauders of Tzeentch with spears. Big charge damage, takes them down to 100 HP, which actually will get them very close to healing Nakari back up. Less than 100 HP, the Mortis engine should finish them off, and that is another heal for our boy Nakari. Not quite dead yet. Oh, they're still there. No heal for Nakari, but Nakari doesn't seem to care. Diving back in, they have to have Wit Stealer sword back up by now. They rout off Village. Naturally this time, not just a tear out, so he will actually keep routing. And that'll be a Slanesh win, as actually Nakari did some serious work for Shocky. Not a ton of value though, but like it felt like it. The Exalted Demonettes did most of the carrying. Devoted Marauders did okay. But I'm gonna zip through these values as I probably have tournament things I need to do. Aecold and Village tried to do quite well for Mossi, and then the Marauders did okay, but Nakari was too much, too thick, too much, too bold. All right. Hard to come by in Lowry, still haven't reported just yet. Don't know if you saw Dwarf's post. All right, I'm getting some questions about it, so just going to bring you over to the left screen. We are still waiting on Hard to Come By and Lowry to determine if Hard to Come By is in this bracket at all. Actually, that doesn't matter. Yeah, okay. I will keep this going. Harris and V can start their battle. Dog will get a bye round. If hard to come by loses. Hard to come by is now typing. Wait, they didn't have a fourth opponent? Didn't you have to fight Lowry? What are the results or how? You versus Lowry? What are you talking about? Okay. You win? You lost? Yeah, okay, great. So hard to come by won their final thing, so they're at 2.5. So they are in our post game, so we will go with this bracket. Fighting dog. Alright, so this, for anyone who cares, bracket is on stream. Dragon versus Lulu. Harris versus the. Dog versus hard to. Alright, so the winner of Dragon versus Lulu and the winner of Harris versus the will fight each other. Whoever wins versus Dog and hard to goes to the finals. The only way I can determine that is because Dog is technically the top seed. Because Dog beat the Epic Dwarf, who's tied with him for the most points. Along with Harris, I guess, but shit happens, I suppose. Yes, hard to fights. Dog ruler. Alright, so we are down to our final 6. It is hard to come by Dog ruler, the Epic Dwarf, Harris, Lulu Snuggle Bun, and Dragonborn, but he calls himself something else. Doom Bear. Cool. Okay, so until I get replays from this elimination stage, we will continue to cast random games from the Swiss stage, just to entertain you all. All right, Harris versus Rowley. I'm going to make sure I've covered everybody. I haven't cast a Harris game yet, so let's cast a Harris game. Sound good? Bye, well. Doom Bear is a very cool name. It is a very cool name. We had 13. We are down to 6. And for... Actually, Grace and I, both of our predictions are still in it. Lulu Snuggle Bun. Oh, shit! Grace and I, our predictions are fighting right away. One of them's going to knock the other one out. Oh, that's intense! Okay, cool. But for now, let's cast some more games. What do we got? So for Harris and the Greenskins, we have the Broken Tusk Mob, some Savage Orc Boar Boy Biggins, 3 Savage Orc Boar Boy Biggins, 1 regular Boar Boy Biggin, which is the ROR. Frontline of Goblins, Stone Trolls, and the Swamp Things to back them up, then Orc Boys to backing them up. Cool. We have an Orc Shaman with Here We Go, Ed Butt, and Gaze of Mork, and then Grom the Paunch. On the other side, for Ayaya? Damn it, I forget his name already. We cast one of his other games. We have the Wood Elves, 4 Dryads, an Ancient Tree Man with Awakening of the Wood and Earthblood, 3 Glade Guard with Hagbane Tips, 2 Blade Singers. I love Blade Singers in very particular matchups. If your opponent doesn't have Burning Head or a lot of Cavalry, Blade Singers can do amazing. And then we do have 2 great Stagnites. Another unit I love. I don't think they're OP or even good. I think they're fine. You know, like 5 out of 10. If they don't get buffs, I won't be upset. If they get buffs, I won't be upset. But I'd probably lean towards buffs just because I think they're a really cool unit. Great Stagnites are super sweet. But they're fine. They're not amazing. Meanwhile, Stone Trolls are getting shot by a metric shit ton of Blade Guard. Their missile resistance plus just a natural regen and 70 armor is keeping them alive and in it for now. Doing just fine. And I really like the formation of the Wood Elves. It was very artistic. It felt very historic, I guess we would call it. But it is faltering now as these Eternal Guard and Blade Singers are needed up front to fight the Goblins. Great Stagnites probably have to split up. One's going to have to fight these Boar Boys, and the other one could surround Grom the Paunch. He is a little overextended with no support right now. You can burst him. Grom is not the Grom he used to be. He is very, very squishy if surrounded by big things. But the Greenskins are swarming over this back line. They're winning the front line and pushing through, but also they're winning the sides, and there's just more of them. It feels like they had 4,000 more funds, as now the Wood Elves are surrounded on all sides. The Great Stagnites aren't getting hit. They need an Earthblood to keep them alive. They are trying to heal up a little bit. And if the second... I don't even know if there was a first wall yet, but if a wall happens right now, that might just be GG, because both these Great Stagnites would die. Without a wall, the Great Stagnites can maybe hold on while the Ancient Tree Man heals them up and supports them and stuff. Blade Singer's trying to fight back, but 3 Glade Guard getting shut down by a really good Greenskin surround is brutal stuff. And the Greenskin executed their charge super well. Like, we're only 2.5 minutes into this game, and it's already balance power shifting the Greenskin's favor, but it was just a really well-executed surrounded dive. I don't even think the Wood Elf player played, like, egregiously bad or anything. It was just a really good executed dive from the Greenskins. Now, Great Stagnites, while they are Chad, I guess the feedback I could offer is versus a low armor faction like the Greenskins, you probably want more cavalry rather than elite cavalry, because the armor piercing on the Great Stagnites is going to go to waste versus like Savage Orc Biggins. I mean, these guys have 35 armor. So that is a bit tough. Ancient Tree Man also isn't an ideal lord in my opinion, though I'm not the best Wood Elf gamer. Ooh, nasty, here we go, giving the Swamp Things 83 melee attack to fight back against this big Ancient Tree Man. Savage Orc Boar Boy Biggins slapping him down. Army losses is closing in. Savage Orc Boar Boy Biggins will get finished out by some Great Stagnites in the distance, but it just doesn't seem to matter. The Wood Elf front line got completely overrun. Their lord is almost completely sniped. And really all they have left on the battlefield is this half-health Great Stagnite, which is not nearly enough to compete with Grom, 2 full-health Boar Blank Biggins, Stone Trolls, and an Orc Shaman. That is just going to be GG against the Wood Elves. And a really, really nice build and really good execution here from the Greenskins of Harris. I hit fast forward because I just don't. I think literally if the Greenskins took their hand off the keyboard, they win this game. Or do they? Yeah, they do. So GG. Ancient Tree Man doesn't get a lot of value, but I mean, he's just a healing cast. You don't really expect him to do that much. Blade Singers got wrecked. Glade Guard also got shut down. Dryads got mowed through, unfortunately. Great Stagnites did decently, but not enough to carry. On the other side, Grom the Paunch did fine. The Swamp Things did great. Stone Trolls did fine. All the Boar Boy Biggins did fine. Orc Boys did well. Goblins did well also. So GG there. Can you guys adjust the results? Can you give the win to the other guy for Lowry? One second. For your previous game, All right. Hard to come by Broad Unit, he wasn't supposed to, versus Lowry, but Lowry's like, I don't care about the win. And even if I reverse the results, Lowry wouldn't get into the top 6. So for scheduling reasons, I'm telling Hard to come by. Just continue on. That's fine. Anyway, I digress. Okay, I have a message from Lulu. Fucking greenskins. It's true. Fucking greenskins indeed. Okay, so we have one of our elimination games, so I will skip to that. We'll keep casting these other replays if we have time while we're waiting for stuff, but this is one of our elimination games. If you take a look at my haphazard-ass bracket, you do see... You know, I'm going to make this a little more visually intuitive. So, we have the replay from Dragonborn and Lulu. So we're going to cast that right now. This is an elimination game. This is post-Swiss stage, finals, etc., etc. Who wins between these two? Lulu Snuggle Bun repping their lizards as per usual. And Koala Duck, also known as Dragonborn, also known as Doom Bear, repping their Chaos Dwarves, which they got mad at me, and that is a joke for everyone's sake. They got mad at me for saying I don't get to see their Beastman, and they said, I'm a Beastman main. And I'm like, dude, whenever you're on stream, you're playing fucking Chaos Dwarves, so how am I supposed to know you're Beastman main if you never play them in front of me? So, yeah. Okay. So for the first elimination game of the night, we have Chameleon Skinks for Lulu Snuggle Bun, and then Clawsnut Hunters in the distance. More Chameleon Skinks on the other side, some Feral Cold Ones, 2 Croxagores, this time neither is sacred. Red Crested Skinks, Saurus Warriors, the Legion of Chahua still, a Salon Mage Priest of Life, with Flesh to Stone and Awakening the Wood and Regrowth, no Earthblood this time. And then the Spirit of Tepok ROR Quaddle, with a Bound of Verona's Time Warp and an Earthblood. On the other side for Koala Duck, we do have Sorcerer Prophet of Fire with Burning Head and Cascading Fire Cloak. Some Goblin Laborers and Chaos Dwarf Warriors in the front line, 2 Chaos Dwarf Blunderbusses, 1 Infernal Guard Fireglaves, and then the Koala Duck special, the Bull Centaur Renders with great weapons. He always takes these guys, and I kind of love it. 2 Hobgoblin Wolf Riders also for some spear action. Who is messaging me, and does it have to do with this tournament? Yes, great. Alright. Quaddle started to move in the Spirit of Tepok, but the Blunderbusses quickly peel it away, and actually the Source Prophet of Fire is getting a little frisky too. He might want to back off. He's sitting directly above Chameleon Skinks, so that is free damage he doesn't have to take. And I worry he'll take a little bit of friendly fire, but we'll see. What? Camera, why did you go all the way over there? Don't do that. Don't do that. Earthblood, that is bound to the Spirit of Tepok. Trying to heal it up, but all that fire damage and whatnot does make it so the healing is reduced. Down Banishment from the Salon, trying to hit the Infernal Guard. I think for Lulu Snugglebun's sake, we're hoping it comes to the left here. But it goes right. It's going to tear up some Goblin Laborers, but that's not nearly as valuable as those Infernal Guard. But the Lizardman frontline has hit, and immediately the Goblin Laborers get routing. The Quaddle needs to hit the ground. It is much safer on the ground than in the air versus this specific type of roster. Oh, and the Croxors are coming plowing through the Chaos Dwarf Blunderbusses. Already, all 3 of the Chaos Dwarf ranged units are shut down, but here comes the countercharge. Bull Centaur Hunters with the Great Weapons have insane anti-large, really good armor piercing, and they can fuck some people up if you give them time. And time is what they have. The Spirit of Tepok is going down. I don't know what Tepok is, but its spirit is waning, and the Chaos Dwarf Blunderbusses are even throwing on guard mode and occasionally getting shots off into this guy. Closthon Hunters have joined the fight as well. Barona's Time Warp onto all of them. Toad Rage 2, and there goes the caster. Oh my god, the Sorcerer Prophet of Fire is getting worked on right now. Cascading Fire Cloak cast onto him. I think he has his heal ready to go. Yeah, if the Salon casts a spell near him, or someone does, he can get a bit of healing. The Spirit of Tepok is so low, though, it's going to die. The Colossal Hunters are also going to rout off here in a second as the Infernal Guard of Fireglaves, once again, guard mode on, just firing in at point-blank range. And that is a lot of damage onto both sides very quickly. Hobgoblin Wolf Rider is going to chase off one Chameleon Skink, while the other Chameleon Skink is just fine and firing away. Crocscore, Saurus, Red Crested Skink still pushing through here. And the Chaos Dwarves, their ranged units still functional. They're damaged, but... what is it? Bowed but unbroken? Broken but unbowed? I don't remember what it is, but something Winston Churchill said. They've taken damage, but they're ready to fight still. Bull Centaur Renders, both below half HP. The Sorcerer Prophet of Fire has also seen better days. But are the Lizardmen out of gas? I mean, losing the Spirit of Tepok is brutal. Maybe an Overcasted Regrowth can bring him back into this fight if the Salon has the Winds of Magic right now. I don't know if anything's bringing the Colossal Hunters back. They only have 2 models left. I don't even know if it's worth healing, to be honest. Bull Centaur Renders taking a lot of damage from fighting on top of the Legion of Chocklaw. Saurus Warriors also grinding through. The Spirit of Tepok is coming back with 430 HP. 1 leadership on that guy. But it looks like he's just committing to the fight. No regrowth for you today, my friend. 1 Bull Centaur Render is out. Big damage on the Spirit of Tepok. He's getting healed up a little bit from the Lore of Life passive. Just a second there. Then Shield the Old Ones keeps him in the fight for now. But 70 HP with Bull Centaur Renders charging. He's going to die. There he goes. There goes the Spirit of Tepok. And the Lizardmen are behind on the Bounce Power. Second and final Bound Banishment lands right on top of the Chaos Dwarf Blunderbusses. Does it have good directional RNG to do damage to these guys? It does not look like it at this moment. So it did some damage, but ended up drifting away from them. Now it's kind of going back in. We'll see how much damage it does. Ooh, pretty good amount as it fades away. Might rout off those blunderbusses. The Legion of Chocklaw are trying to get these other blunderbusses out of here. Infernal Guard firing uphill into these Crocsagores, who get a downhill charge onto these guys with a Blood Statue, despite also whittling them down. But man, that's a lot of damage. And they're a hybrid halberd unit, so it's not like the Crocsagores are going to get off easy. Bull Centaur Render still running around. That's the healthy-ish one. One of them over here. I guess they're both feeling really bad. Eh, it is what it is. Salon's still grinding away. Chaos Dwarf Warriors holding for now against Feral Clodons and Saurus Warriors. And I have to feel like the Chaos Dwarves are in an advantageous position. The Spirit of Tepok is dead. It's the Legion of Chocklaw. You stupid, illiterate rat boy. Okay. Legion of Chocklaw still fighting. Sorcerer Prophet of Fire is forced off for the first time. He will come back. Don't you worry about him. He will be back. He'll be fine. Saurus trying to grind it out. Chameleon Skinks fighting a little bit. For the Chaos Dwarves, we have 1 healthy Chaos Dwarf Warrior, 2 very wounded cavalry pieces, 3 extremely wounded ranged pieces, and a very wounded Sorcerer Prophet of Fire who can occasionally heal up if that Salon keeps spamming out spells. For Lizardmen, we have an almost dead Salon, almost dead Saurus, almost dead other Saurus, and decently not kind of sort of dead other Saurus. That's about it. It's about all that's going to matter here. Hobgoblin Wolf Riders charging on these Chameleon Skinks. They're already so wounded that they will immediately shatter on impact. Say goodbye to those Chameleon Skinks. Blood Statue of Spite is going to finish off the Infernal Guard with Fireglaive. Straight up shatters them. 6 HP left on 2 models. Other Bull Centaur Renders get piecing out. More Bull Centaur Renders charge in, and Awakening of the Woods is going to heal up some Saurus while it looks like doing decent friendly fire damage to them. The Chaos Dwarf Blunderbuss is on top of the hill firing into the Salon, but Armor of Quetzal, Aura of Quetzal, my bad, gives some stats. The Legion of Chocklaw break through the Hobgoblin Laborers and try and get onto the high ground to stop the blunderbusses, but the blunderbuss volleys plus the Sorcerer Prophet of Fire diving in does a lot of damage to Salon Mage Priest of Life, and the Bull Centaur Renders are back. Saurus are now, every Saurus on the battlefield is trying to get up onto the high ground and stop that blunderbuss from firing anymore. Red Crested Skinks hit Chaos Dwarf Warriors in the back line, and a Flesh to Stone is out for the Salon Mage Priest of Life. No regrowth for him just yet, and no Earthbloods. Remember, he didn't take that spell. That was bound to the Spirit of Tepok. Legion of Chakwa are routed off. That is brutal. That is your only source spear that was left, so your anti-large for those Bull Centaur renders and the big old spooky Sorcerer Prophet of Fire is gone. Meanwhile, as far as range units go, one blunderbuss has rallied, just barely, and another blunderbuss is currently running away from these Saurus Warriors. The blunderbuss is slower slightly, but Bull Centaur renders are making the Saurus pay for every moment that they ignore the renders. Slaw Mage Priest is going to rout unless he has the Shield of the Old Ones available. Chaos Dwarf blunderbusses try and get to a position where they can fire, but the Salon isn't giving up on this fight just yet. A Terror Out comes in from the Saurus Warriors. Balance of power is shifting very heavily against the Lizardmen, and I definitely agree. This is looking quite doomed for them unless the Salon can do something crazy with his time. Saurus Warriors, that was a terror route. It wasn't a real route. So they will come back. They'll maybe turn this fight around. But the Salon might just die to the Sorcerer Prophet of Fire right here, right now. Salon Mage Priest cold-blooded on himself to stay in the battle, but army losses hits. The Chaos Dwarves and Koala Duck will advance in our bracket. Can I bring a bound on the Spirit of Tepak and bring it on the Salon, or is that illegal? I think that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, you can bring a bound spell, as long as it's bound by a certain number of uses, yes. That doesn't come up very often. The only reason I know it's fine, because the Vampire Counts often bring the lesser undead summon on their Necromancer, and then the real undead summon on Manfred. Anyway, yeah, for Lulu Snuggle Bun, Slon did great. Spirit of Tepak did okay, but then got shot really bad. Colossal Hunters did fine. Legion of Chakwa did great. Crocscores did a lot of disruption, but not a lot of murder. Source did okay. Red Crystal Kings did well. No side for Koala Duck. His caster did fine. His Bull Centaur renders did well. His shooting aspects did great. And Chaos Dwarf Warriors held. They held the blessed line. Plus one Hobgoblin Spear Rider. Apparently crushing it. The only bound spell I think you can't take is Nets. Yeah, you're still limited to 2... Is it 3 nets, but only 1 can be targetable? Like point and click thing. Lulu Snuggle Bun? That's fine. As long as you had fun, man. Alright, I'm checking one other thing. For now, let's go to the left-hand screen and go to this thing, and I will cut and paste Dragon up here. We will delete you, Lulu, from existence. And I was given the replay for Harris versus the Epic Dwarf, but for scheduling reasons, I wanted to ask who won, so that I can get the next game going here. So I'll put you back over here so you don't get spoilers. Alright. To avoid spoilers, I will message Koala. Okay. So the matchup between Koala / Dragon / Doombear and the winner of Harris versus the Epic Dwarf is going now. But we need to figure out who that is. And I swear I've saved this replay like 6 times. Hello? No, I apparently did not, because it was not in my folder already. Alright, let's do this. So this is another elimination game. The Epic Dwarf versus Harris, 645. And another Lizardman versus Nurgle? Okay. Okay. Wow, these are some small-ass armies. Wow, these are some small-ass armies. Tian, it's been a long time since I've had to find that rule and deal with it. I could look it up, but it's not currently pertinent, so I might do that off stream, if that's okay with everybody. Alrighty. So, for Harris's army and the Lizardmen, we have 5 Saurus Warriors with clubs. Star Chamber Guardians, the Temple Guard Regiment of Renown. We have Lord Croak, a Saurus Old Blood, and then Feral Cold Ones, and the Pale Death, the Feral Troglodyte Regiment of Renown. For the Epic Dwarf, we have Nurgle, 5 Nurglings, 2 Marauders with Great Weapons, 2 Plague Bearers of Nurgle, 1 Exalted Plague Bearer of Nurgle, which is the Festering Stooges, and the Exalted Great Unclean One of Nurgle, with Miasma of Pestilence, Stream of Corruption. He also has a Plague Ridden of Death with Justice Locus of Virulence, no spells, Plague Drones with Death Heads, and Chaos Furies of Nurgle. That is wild. That's wild. Though, like, I was talking to Boags. Boags is someone well known, if you've been around the streams, for having pretty fun and silly builds that he just stands by and, like, always uses. That was the Epic Dwarf when he first showed up on the scene. He was just taking wild shit and, like, trying to make it work. And if it didn't work, he shrugged it off. So, yeah, I'm not shocked that he's bringing a Plague Ridden of Death with Locus Virulence. Why not? What I am shocked by is how much fucking damage the Saurus Old Blood is taking from the Festering Stooges. He is getting worked! And there's no healing on this roster for him. He is stuck with that much HP. Meanwhile, Saurus are trying to grind through the Nurgle front line, but grinding through Nurgle is a tough ask for sure. And the Exalted Great Unclean One is kicking the Saurus Old Blood's ass after the Festering Stooges set him up and put him on a plate. The Saurus Old Blood is already routing off from the shellacking he took. And now Lord Croak is surrounded by Plague Drones with Death's Heads, so he's also taking a ton of damage. The Pale Death, however, is getting his vengeance on the Exalted Great Unclean One of Nurgle, getting him down to half HP already and still firing away at that guy. Really liking the damage he's getting out. The Star Chamber Guardians have rallied to the defense of Lord Croak. The Saurus Old Blood has rallied in the distance, and things are looking quite a bit better for the Lizardmen now. Some Nurglings are fading away. Other Nurglings are getting delivered pizza, and they love pizza. Nurgle loves eating things. Actually, eating things is more of Slaaneish's whole bag, isn't it? Who is top bracket? You. Sorry. I had a question about the tournament. Something's happening here. A Blight Swarm is going down across all these Saurus, lowering their stats. But man, the Pale Death is still having his best life just fighting over here. Meanwhile, the Plague Ridden and his Death's Heads might finish off the Saurus Old Blood, unless the Saurus Old Blood force paths his way back to the main fight. And a big pizza is getting delivered right now. Do any of these infantry dodge it? It does not look like it. You're about to get a campaign level of violence. Bam! Big damage. So actually, the Festering Stooges are just fine with it. Huh, shocking. But the Marauders weren't, and the Nurglings aren't. They start Demonic Instability crumbling. And the Pale Death cannot be allowed to do this anymore, as he is all of a sudden rampaging. He is still a feral monster, however. And the Plague Ridden plus his Death's Head's Goon Squad, get that guy to start rampaging so that the Exalted Great Unclean One can get a bit of a breather, because the Pale Death has been keeping him on death's door this whole time. He's trying to save up for a heal, I imagine. There's unfortunately no cold-blooded available, apparently, to get the Pale Death out of this situation. The Saurus Old Blood recommits to the fight. Meanwhile, Saurus and Lord Croak are fighting against the Festering Stooges elsewhere. Lizardmen are up on the balance of power just barely, but a Stream of Corruption goes down over here. The Saurus Old Blood gets sniped out. The Pale Death is taking a lot of damage, and this could be a swing in the favor of Nurgle. Koala is in it. Koala is in it. He's fighting the winner of this game as we speak. The Pale Death stops rampaging, but it is too little too late to save them from just outright routing. And something is getting cast here, but what is it? It's Primeval Roar, giving the Temple Guard a bit more melee attack. And they are hitting those Plague Drones pretty hard. The Saurus Old Blood rallies in the distance for the final time. If he routes once more, he will shatter. He probably, with 88 HP and no healing, he just needs to run to the forest and stay there for the rest of the game, just to try and be a leadership buff for the Lizardmen by his raw existence. Saurus are trying to grind through Nurgle. They're trying. They're doing their damnedest, but it might not be enough as the Exalted Great Unclean One walks right up to Croak, and he's going to beat his ass. The Exalted Great Unclean One is an undervalued duelist, for sure. The Star Chamber Guardians trying to follow him around, continue to get their good value out, but all the while they are getting Mortis Engine drained down by the just raw, gross value that the Exalted Great Unclean One farts around himself at all times. Another pizza is delivered near the Festering Stooges. Another big chunk of HP, and that might cause them Demonic Instability crumble. I don't know if they can withstand that much damage that quickly. There goes the demonic instability. Their leadership is not rallying just yet. They're still taking that damage. And it does not look like they'll be saved. Oh, up to +1 leadership. They do hold on for now, but the bounce power is way too far against Lizardman. Too much stuff is routed off. Too much stuff's taking damage. It's really one healthy Solar's Warrior and an almost dead Lord Croak, which is just not enough to win a game. There go the Festering Stooges, crumbling once again. That is GG. As the Epic Dwarf moves on to fight Doombear. It was a good run by Harris. I liked all their builds. I liked their play from what we saw. Temple Guard and Lord Croak got amazing value. The Pale Death just about paid for itself. Source Warriors did all right. But it was mostly, honestly, the Source Old Blood that felt like it let Harris down. The Epic Dwarf. Exalted Grand Claimant did great. Honestly, the Plague Ridden did great. And the Death's Heads did awesome. Their little Goon Squad got a ton of value, so I do love to see innovative strategies like that. Meanwhile, Nurglings got mostly crushed, and the Festering Stooges did super well. This is some of the love you get from new player tournaments, though. New players are much more likely to bring some wild-ass shit. So right now, if you care, just pulling up the bracket so you can see it. So, Dragon, being Dragonborn, also Doombear, also Koala Duck, is fighting the Epic Dwarf right now to see which of them goes to finals. And Dog is fighting hard too to see which of them goes to finals. That game's been going for a bit, so I imagine we'll get its replay soon. I do not currently have it, however, which means we can cast some more spicy stuff. Since I've kind of accepted at this point that I might not get to cast every game, I'm going to take a look and look for some that look fun. Oh, that looks fun. Oh, that looks fun. I don't get to see a lot of dwarves, but that looks fun. That is a lot of pew-pew. Oh my god. That is so much damage. Oh! Okay. So here we are. For the dwarves, we have a front line of 5 miners with blasting charges, including the Ekron's miners. And in their back line, we have a basic lord on foot, just being as cheap as possible. 2 flame cannons, which are actually really good on this map because Pillar Bone is quite small, so their limited range does not hurt them. 3 iron drakes, 2 iron drakes, troll hammer torpedoes, 2 slayers, and 2 dwarf warriors. Are the miners gold chevroned? They're silver chevron, so a lot of chevrons on those miners. On the other side, for the high elves, 3 Lothern Seaguard, 2 White Lions of Krace, 4 Spearmen, and 3 more White Lions of Krace, including the Pure Main Company, plus 2 War Lions. One is way over there, and one is below my screen. You can now see it. We also have a Lore Master of Hoeth, with no spells, just his AoE leadership, plus being a good anti-infantry arm-piercing duelist. And then Alarielle on foot with her Healing Star of Avalorn and her Healing Earthblood. Cool. Alright, the Miner Vanguard is out. High Elves are very clustered together, so if these Miners get a nice volley off onto the Spearmen, it will do good damage. And paired with the Flame Cannons, violence is about to occur to these Elves. Look away if ye be of pointy ear. Already 3 spearmen are routing in an insane little tactic that is appearing to work out for now. Oh my god. It hurts so much. 4 spearmen are routing 30 seconds into the game. Jesus Christ. Flame Cannons now turn their attention on other things. And the High Elves, I love this. The High Elves back up and they're just like, alright, everybody calm the fuck down. What's happening? Okay, it's some miners. They're vanguarded. Great. All right, let's start shooting them. Okay, we've all reassessed. But I love how the ones who didn't get insta-nuked just backed up 5 steps and were like, slow down. Anyway, White Lions getting into melee can crush the miners with blasting charges pretty easily. The other ones are getting rear charged by the War Lions of Grace, so really nice rally here from the High Elves. And Ian Martell in chat saying, hey, that's us. Unless you're the Epic Dwarf, I believe you're this player, and I missed your name on the loading screen. I'm sorry. I was distracted, so... Yes, if you could remind us who you are, dear High Elf player. Unless you're the Epic Dwarf, then I know you're the Dwarves, because you're the Epic Dwarf. I got that. I learned names, it just takes me a little bit. 2 miners are shattered, a 3rd one is also routing, a 4th one is also routing. So these miners with their blasting charges do great, but in melee they are very subpar, which is fine. I mean, you wouldn't want it to also be amazing in melee. Meanwhile, War Lions are starting to get back onto the Iron Drakes, but their worst nightmare, these Slayers are coming up. Anti-large, great stats, super happy to fight War Lions of Praise. And the Flame Cannon's doing a ton of damage while also lowering the leadership of those wily cats. High Elves are rallying, though. Even their Spearmen that got shock damage right at the start of the game, they're coming back, and they're ready to actually get in a fight for once. Lions of Grace getting knocked over by these Trollhammer Torpedoes. The Iron Drakes with the Flamethrowers. Trollhammer Torpedoes are fighting the War Lions, but they don't get enough DPS out, and the War Lions eat them on the charge. So much damage. Despite their 125 armor, they have a very low HP pool, and the War Lions have good armor piercing. They'll be just fine. Other Iron Drakes trying to rout off these White Lions of Grace before they get to them, and they almost manage it, but the leadership buff from charging your opponent does help a little bit. The High Elves are really grinding back into this game as they finally start shutting down some of the Dwarven ranged units. Flame Cannons still have a lot of ammunition, so if the High Elves can get in range and get those Lothern Seaguard to fire at those cannons, that would be great value for them. Alariel and the other Elves chasing down these Iron Drakes who are trying to run away for now. Dwarf Warriors being pulled up instead of defending their flame cannons. Seeing that there's no cavalry on this map whatsoever, the Dwarf Warriors realize that there's no flank attack coming and they can just move up and actually be a front line. I'm lazy? Nice. Nice lazy. We're here. Lothern Seaguard taking a ton of damage from those flame cannons. Oh, they're just getting rolled by these flame cannons, except for that shot. That shot went way wide. First heal is out. Star of Avalorn onto some White Lions, but unfortunately the White Lions are going to rout, so they'll run outside of that heal and screw themselves over. But the remnants of a High Elf force are getting back to this flame cannon that is firing to the last man, but it will get shut down soon, and more Spearmen and War Lions are closing in. The Dwarves' initial shock damage might wear off. The balance of power is going to get a lot better for the High Elves when these flame cannons are officially shut down. Meanwhile, Alariel and the Swordmaster fighting against the Lord and these Slayers. And the High Elves are still down on the balance of power, but I'm just not seeing a lot of Dwarven resilience left in the field of battle. Flame Cannon's going to get chased down by Spearmen. Other Flame Cannon's also going to get chased down by Spearmen. So those guys are essentially offline. And Larry is slowly trying to heal up these guys. Balance of power is getting much closer to even, though we do have some Iron Drakes rallying on both sides of this backfield. And if they fire in onto the Spearmen, they could get good damage and rout these guys off, letting the Flame Cannons get back on their mounts. That could be a problem. Lothern Seaguard still firing into Slayers and such. But yeah, look at that damage from these Iron Drakes. Say goodbye to the Spearmen, and that is one Flame Cannon crew freed up to do whatever they please. Lothern Seaguard trying to shoot at Iron Drakes. Do okay damage, but versus archers, that armor is going to protect them a lot more than it does versus the Lions. Meanwhile, how's the Lord fight going? Not great for the Dwarven Lord. He's fighting his best, but Lore Master of Hoeth is a better melee combatant than him, and Lore Master has healing support from Larry. Meanwhile, the Dwarves continue to use guns, faith, and steel better than the Empire could ever hope to, and rout off a ton of High Elves that way, especially these overlapping fire from the Iron Drakes is really cool. I'm liking that tactic quite a lot. For the High Elves, I'm just liking the cool head that they're keeping. Anything that rallies, they bring back into the fight in pretty short order. A lot of the fights they've been taking are the correct ones, you know, like armor-piercing units versus the armored Iron Drakes, less armor-piercing units versus the Flame Cannons or Slayers or Miners or something like that. I have a ping. What's it about? It's from Doombear. Hold on, I just need to see if it's actually like a problem. Alright. Lothern Seaguard. Still fighting. Actually, wait 1 second. Sorry, 1 second. It was a rules question, so it actually is important. I'm sorry, but 1 second. So super sorry about that delay. It was a rules thing, which is important. So very sorry. All right, Iron Drake still firing into this blob of High Elves. The Dwarf Lord is holding on as best he can while just unholy fire is rained upon them. The Pure Maiden Company and the Spearmen are both routing. Flame Cannons also firing in, just no mercy, though at this point you're doing more damage to Dwarf Warriors than you're doing to any Elves. Oh my god. Anyway, I won't stop this game. I had to answer a rules thing real quick. White Lions of Krace and War Lions of Krace descending upon this area, though. The Trollhammer Torpedoes are trying to peel these guys back. High Elves are up on the balance of powers. The Dwarf Lord is routing, but he's not dead. So he will rally unless he's fully killed off somewhere else. But the War Lions of Krace are back in. They plow into the Flame Cannons and into the Iron Drakes, disrupting both at once, which is really great. But man, these other Flame Cannons are routing off all of the White Lions that try and come help out the War Lions. War Lions and White Lions are different. Lob and Seaguard continue to rout off the Trollhammer Torpedoes. I think that might shatter this one. I feel like that one's been routed a good number of times. Yep, there they go. And the War Lions taking some fire from Iron Drakes elsewhere. They do have the Discouraged. They have the Burnt thing. So if they actually hit the War Lions, that'll really debuff their leadership and they might get routing. But Larry and the Lore Master of Hoth with their Encourage might be enough to keep the Lions in it. Dwarves are down on the balance of power, but this is anyone's game at this moment in time. I guess the biggest problem is Larry and the Lore Master being full health. It's not like there's a ton of stuff that does big damage to them. The Trollhammer Torpedoes would have, and that's one that's shattered there. I don't know where the other one even is, so it might be dead at this point. And without Slayers, I don't know what can kill Larry and her Lore Master. Balance of power is getting increasingly bad for the Dwarves, and I unfortunately agree. I don't think it's army losses yet, which, like, it is, but I don't think it should have been army losses yet. But as I think about it, nothing can kill Larry and the Lore Master. They actually can just finish out this game. And it was a valiant attempt from the Epic Dwarf, but it was not enough. I actually think even if every unit on the map was unbreakable, I think the Dwarves still would have lost. No single entity killing stuff, then. All right. I heard some... I don't know who won, but I heard some spoilers about a certain aspect of one of our semifinal games, and if it's true, I am very curious how that game went. I'm very curious. For the Epic Dwarf in this game that we just cast, I scrolled through the High Elf stats, but their value was spread across their whole army. It was a team effort. For the Epic Dwarf, his Flame Cannons got insane value. His Slayers did fine. His Trollhammer Torpedoes really didn't do that well. His Flame versions did better. Dwarf Warriors got wrecked. Miners of Blasting Charges, while impressive, they didn't actually get that much value. They did fine. And the Dwarf Lord got slammed. But that was really cool. That was a nice spread out one. So I'm going to delete the one that I just cast, and then I'm going to check in on my semifinals and see if I got anything. Okay, we have a semifinal game coming up here in a second. Hence the delay. We have a different semifinal than the one I was expecting, Cast. Sorry, I gotta deal with this. 1, free play, 2, cool board. Alright, sorry. 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 We'll get into a game in a second. Okay, we have 2 semifinals to cast, though one of them, I know how it ends, but the players haven't got me the replay just yet, and I do need that. Alright, sweet. Thank you very much to Doom Bear. Okay, sorry. So our finals is now underway. Very, very sorry about the delay. Once again, managing tournament stuff while you're streaming shit happens. So, we already saw Koala and we saw the Epic Dwarf. But I know Koala probably has to go to bed soon. Dog Ruler and what's your name? Hard to come by. Whatever. I'm getting questions about this game right now, so I'm just going to cast this game so people can stop asking me questions and we can just see it in real time. I swear I tested part of this and it didn't work. So we have... Your next 2 games coming up are both semifinals. Between Koala Duck and the Epic Dwarf, and then on the other side between Dog and Hard 2. 9. Well, we have at least 3 games left. So... The question I was asked was, are you allowed to charge the Great Maw, charge the Cauldron of the Great Maw off of the Maw by hitting your own Noblars? And I told the player, I don't see a problem with it because you're damaging your own unit, but also I tested this and it doesn't work that way. Does it? I didn't think it does. Like, I one-shot my own Noblars and I didn't get charged, but whatever. Well, we'll deal with it in a second. So we have the Beastmen of Koala Duck versus the Ogres of the Epic Dwarf. The Epic Dwarf bringing 4 Gorgers and then Scrag the Slaughterer with his Cauldron of the Great Maw to try and get some healing up. And he's bringing the Maw and Bull Gorger, like those spells. That's good, that's good. 3 Ogre Bulls with Iron Fists, 2 Noblar Trappers, a front line of regular Noblars, 2 Hunters, both of them are on foot. And then we have 2 Saber-Tusk packs. On the other side for the Beastmen we have 2, 3, 4 Centaurs, all throwing axes. 4 Minotaurs, all with great weapons, a great Brave Shaman of Wilds with Devolve and Traderkin, and then a front line of a shitload of Ungor Spearman herds, some with shields, some without. Are you allowed to take 8 of these? I thought shields and non-shields were the same unit. Yeah, I think you can only take 5 of those, but we'll see. We'll see if it matters. We'll see if it matters. Alright. Saber-Tusk packs trying to chase down throwing axes. The throwing axes could probably beat those guys in melee, but they don't want to take that much damage. Saber-Tusks will do a lot of damage on their way out, so they're trying to kite for a little bit and just get free damage out. 6 is too many? Okay, yeah. So shields and non-shielded are the same unit. Gotcha. That's what I figured, but it's kind of weird to think of it while you're in-game. Saber-Tusk tearing apart one of the Centaurs throwing axes while they're taking damage. And Gorgers in the back. Do have a Cauldron of the Great Maw stack. It's starting to stack up for now. And Scrag already pops something to get extra ingredients to get more Winds of Magic. Bang Stick going out onto these Ungor Spearman herds. But the Minotaur charges here. And already in certain parts of the Beastman frontline has started to crumple, but these Minotaurs will boost up by quite a lot. There is the Maw. Bam! It kills off a ton of those models because they were already damaged, and that charges it up about halfway. It's about 50% charged right now. So the Gorgers do have regen, and they have increased damage. Now they're charging in to to try and hit these Minos. With the Nobbler Trapper support and the Gorgers hitting the Minotaurs, they should take a lot of damage. And you now have an unbreakable, regenerating front line on the side of the Ogres. And they're living their best life. They're eating Minos for breakfast as Nobbler Trappers continue to throw in. The Minos are getting torn apart. Hunters are both throwing at this Breakbration. Wild's really pushing him around, and Scrag is doing just fine, but the Gorgers are slamming this front line. Massacre also gives them armor piercing and terror. If unit caps are on, then just unit caps for new player things. We still use the tournament rules, but we're just much more forgiving of mistakes. Because it's a new player tournament, so it's like, yeah, shit happens. But yes, fruit rules are used. It's just mistakes. Gorgers slapping the Minos with great weapons, tearing them apart. The Great British Shaman of Wilds is currently surviving as best he can as this Hunter thinks about throwing at him, but the bounce power is already really bad for the Beastmen. The only things they have left on the map that are even remotely healthy are their Centaurs with throwing axes, because this Great British Shaman of Wilds takes a spear in the back, but he also pops Forbidden Rod, which is going to damage him, and Scrag slaps him in the back. I would not be surprised if this guy kills himself off with that Forbidden Rod. His health is getting real low. 3 seconds left on the Forbidden Rod, though. He won't outright die, but he will shatter. So the Beastmen have lost their leadership. They've lost their caster. And the Gorgers are still slowly healing up. The Great Maw is 60% charged. And that is army losses. So that's why I wasn't too perturbed by the Spearmen, as due to the rules dispute, I figured out how the game ended. He was asking if you can use your own, if you can kill your own Nobblars with the Great Maw to charge up your Cauldron, which I said is fine, but it doesn't work that way. I think he just charged him off the Ungrar Spearman, because like I tested it once. The Great Book of Grudges asked me to test it, and now that I think about it, I wonder if the Great Book of Grudges is the Epic Dwarf. I'm suspicious, but yeah. I don't think you get it off charging your own Nobblars, and I didn't see any problem with the cast. He cast it on the front line. So even if he did charge it off his Nobblars, like, that was a legit cast. It wasn't like he was trying to cheese him or anything. It was just trying to kill that front line. So it seemed fine. What map do we play on? Bloodpine Woods. Uh-oh. I'm getting yelled at. I'm getting yelled at. I don't like it. Other semifinal between Dog Ruler and Hard to... I can never remember this guy's name. I'm so sorry. Hard to come by. His name is hard to come by. This is the other semifinal. The winner of this will go to fight the Epic Dwarf in the finals. Dog Ruler on the Tomb Kings versus not something degenerate. Upon seeing Felix in a very small dwarf build, I'm like, degeneracy detected. But actually looking at it, this is fine. I mean, you have 5 fucking Slayers. You have Ungrim Iron Fist. I can't even be mad. Yes, you have Felix, but everything else about this is redonkulous as hell. So let's see. On one side for the Tomb Kings, we have 2 Skeleton Archer Chariots, 1 Skeleton Horseman, a front line of Tomb Guard mixed in with Skeleton Warriors, so that'll be pretty sturdy. 4 Skeleton Archers, 2 Screaming Skull Catapults, Chosen Gods of Shopty Great Bows, and a Grand Hierophant Kotep with only his cheapest, most spammable spell to heal up his army and reset your cooldowns. No, he doesn't have his cooldown reset, because I guess the dwarves don't care as much about that. And we do have My Will Be Done. On the other side, for the dwarves, we saw it in the load screen. We have Felix and Ungrim Iron Fist. We have 1 Iron Drake, the flamethrower variant. And then a lot of melee infantry. Warriors of Dragonfire's Pass, Slayers, Grumbling Guard, Giant Slayers mixed in here, more Dwarf Warriors, and Dragonback Slayers. The dwarves are going to run at you. They're going to run at you, they're going to swing their axes, and they're going to run at you some more. Warriors of Dragonfire Pass down to half HP. On the approach, taking some damage. And I'm sure seeing 0 ranged units of any kind makes the Tomb Kings a little worried that they need to kill these dwarves very, very quickly, or their front line is going to get massacred. Though I suppose it's not like they're hammerers or anything. It'll still take these guys a while to get through skeletons and Tomb Guard and stuff. Skeleton Archer Chariots just trying to kite Giant Slayers for a little bit. Those Giant Slayers are starting to charge. Chariots do have to move. There they go. Run, Chariots, run. Get out of here. The Grumbling Guard and the Warriors of Dragonfire Pass have taken a lot of damage. Such is the way of things. Such is the way of dwarves. I think it makes them more powerful in their hearts, in their souls. Giant Slayer's also at a half HP, though. This is a brutal advance from the dwarves. They are taking so much damage. Skeleton Warriors going out to fight Giant Slayers, as the Chariots probably are going to come back in and swoop in on those guys behind. Other Slayers are also getting kited. Faithful, if it's wrong, why does it feel so right? Alright, Chosen of the Gods doing a really dumb, weird scatter shot up into the sky. Don't know why they did that. It's not the player's fault. It just seems weird that they did that. Archers firing into the Slayers, and oh god, it's so much damage, you guys. Oh my god. They're having such a bad time. Oh, Skeleton Warriors getting a little bit of burnt as the Scream Skull Catapults try and shoot the Iron Drake Skeleton Horsemen, and these Chariots are just sitting by, wondering if they're going to do anything. Skeleton Chariots get involved, but then the Giant Slayers and other Slayers will swing at them, dealing some decent damage. And the balance of power is shifting pretty heavily against the Dwarves, and I can't say I am against it. Dwarf Warriors, if they had the debuff from the getting shot by artillery, the Skeleton Horsemen rear charge could actually rout them off. The Iron Drakes are going to hold too. These Chariots need to hit something sorry, not the Chariots. The Catapults need to hit something someday so it'll actually fucking rout. Because these Iron Drakes are gaining leadership as we speak. It's been that long since a Catapult hit anything. Meanwhile, Chariots are trying to cycle charge over here. Slayer's taking a lot of damage. Balance power's tipping heavily against the Dwarves, and I definitely agree. Warriors Dragonfire Pass are now the victims of another rear charge. And they almost rout. Dwarf Warriors are closing in, but Felix and Ungram have found their way onto Grand Hierophant Kotep. He needs to start falling back. Archers are trying to fire over into this area, and Chosen of the Gods doing their best. Ushapti Summon is available. Dwarves are routing where they even can. I mean, some of these guys are Slayers, right? So they're not gonna rout. They don't give a shit. They don't give a fuck. There's the Ushapti Summon right in front of Ungram and Felix. And if we can hit army losses, then Felix will rout, and the Tomb Kings can take their time killing Ungram. But Kotep is caught yet again. The Ushapti have to, as soon as they're done summoning and like getting through their animation, they need to get orders to come over here and get between Kotep and Evil, because Kotep is currently getting slammed. It doesn't look like he's going to be able to escape. He's going to start crumbling soon. The Ushapti are just too slow on the draw. Now they're coming, but it's too late for poor Kotep. Everywhere else, the dwarves are getting shit canned. Everywhere else, the dwarves are getting shit canned, except for they killed Kotep. The leadership of the Tomb Kings falls. Some of their guys will start crumbling a little faster, and they don't get any spammed out healing or, you know, spells of any kind. Scream Skull Catapult's trying to keep these guys routing, even shattering off some other stuff, but the Ushapti are fighting, and Felix and Ungram could be a bit of a problem. Some archers trying to kill giant slayers somehow ended up in melee with them, so they are going to start demonic instability crumbing. Not everything's a demon, okay? Me. But yes, these dwarf warriors down to half HP. Other than that, we're down to the single entities. Nothing else in this battlefield has enough health to matter. Can the dwarves win off of just Felix and Ungram, man? Ooh, baby, they're trying. Ungram even has all of his buffs. Red Ruin, Axe of Dargo, Dreadly Onslaught, and Foe Seeker. Jiminy Christmas. These chariots and these skeleton horsemen should be able to keep all of the dwarves routing. The ones that do rout, once again. We have dwarf warriors here that haven't routed just yet. There's only 2 slayer units left on the map. There's 20 models, and there are 2. Archers still plenty able to take care of them. Despite the loss of Kotep, things are looking pretty good for the Tomb Kings. What are those, Tomb Guard? Okay, the Tomb Guard can stop chasing. Archers and the Chosen of the Gods can finish those guys off. The Tomb Guard are going to be needed to fight Ungram for a little bit. Skeleton Chariots using the last of their arrows to poke away at these guys. And those Slayers down to 4 models. This Giant Slayer still at 2. Skeleton Horsemen did shatter the Warriors of Dragonfire Pass. They can now spend their time chasing the Iron Drakes or something. Now we get to watch Ungrim solo 500 skeletons. Luckily for us, I have a fast forward button. Boop! Hell, I'll even times 3. Nope, not yet. Archers are shooting at him, but Ungrim gets over to both the catapults. Getting decent damage down. Tomb Guard trying to fight back against him. Felix isolates himself a little bit. If the dwarves get army lost, that would get rid of Felix for them. But, oh, big damage onto Felix. Nice volleys from these archers. And there's his heal cap already. Felix is definitely the priority target. If you can get rid of him, then Ungrim doesn't get any healing. Chosen of the Gods trying to get shots off onto an infantry-sized character. It is rough. They honestly do more friendly fire damage to the guys behind it than they did to the original guys. Felix is getting low on leadership, though the bounce power is back to 50-50. Ungrim is hunting down these Shocky Great Bows. Archers are trying to punish Ungrim just a little bit. Other archers are trying to shoot Felix in his big dumb Felix face. They have anything to kill Ungrim? Archers and time, I guess, but it's looking real rough. Chariots trying to finish off Felix. But they can't quite do it. Now the bounce power is in the favor of the dwarves. And without having Archon and Spirit Leech, the Tomb Kings have such a bad time killing infantry. They really do. I think the Kepler Guard are like the only thing that are any good at killing infantry. I know Gotrek Starbreaker, or he used to be known as Sabrus, is really good at this matchup because like just single entities are so hard for the Tomb Kings to kill, especially infantry ones. Chariots trying to charge in, but they aren't doing that much damage. Felix is heal capped. Ungrim is not, and army losses will take the Tomb Kings. And a Dog Ruler, with a valiant effort, will falter, allowing Hard to come by to go to the finals to fight the Epic Dwarf. Which, I was excited about this. It was literally their first round. The first round of the tournament had the Epic Dwarf versus Hard to come by. So they're getting a rematch. The Epic Dwarf won the first time. Ungrim getting 2,600 value. Dude, I get it. Nobody likes to see a hero squad win a whole game. But I will say, I'm at least happy it's Ungrim for once. And not fucking Thoric. I'm fine with it. Once in a while. You never want it to happen all the time. Everyone besides Ungrim and Felix got fucking rolled. Yeah, they did not have a good time. You gave up the ink so you didn't remember the cycle charging rules? Oh, no. Yeah, Dog Ruler. That's right. You were asking me about that. You're totally fine. In the situation you had archers firing. So, like, we don't have a final yet, so I'm just going to go through this rules thing. Oh, to hell with it. What are we doing? Troll Country. There it is. Alright, Troll Country. Yeah, so let's take 2 Hellstriders. Yeah, whatever. 2 Hellstriders, and then a Hell Cannon. How does that Gorst campaign? What turn is it? I think I'm on like turn 15. I was trying to make a video about playing Helm and Gorst like a Horde faction, so I sold my city immediately. It didn't work. Alright, so rules things. So like, if you're worried about the rules and attacking and whatever, like this Hell Cannon firing, the rest of my army can sit still. It's obeying the attacking rule for me. So in like your late game when you were the Tomb Kings, you had archers firing, you're totally fine, right? So that's obeying the attacking rule. You don't need to do anything else. But let's say you don't have that, and you are talking about just cavalry. Jack Norman in chat is really good at rule stuff, and I'm not really that good at it. But Jack Am I correct in that with multi-entity models, you can cycle charge in late game by doing something like this? So charge in here, and then these guys have attack orders, and since they have attack orders, you can back off, right? Because it's a multi-entity model that is trying to attack. So then you could charge in, and these guys could back off, and while they're currently in the fight, you can charge back in. Because the whole point of the attacking rule is to get something to do something at all times. Now what I can't do is this. Have both units leaving at the same time? Can't do that. But as long as one's in, it's fine. But that's multi-entity models. If it was Bellicor and like Aecold, one of them would have to stay in combat for the other one to cycle charge, just because single entities are like, they just are so weird in the game that in a late game, if you have single entities, if you cycle charge effectively, single entities will take literally 0 damage. While Hellstriders and other things, like they get caught like this, you at least take a little bit of damage and the game progresses. It's just to avoid, it's honestly to avoid super boring and stupid late games of just like, oh, well, it's Bellicor and, actually it's just Bellicor. Like, it's just Bellicor, he's just going to cycle charge, and as long as the player with Bellicor doesn't micro incorrectly, he's literally invincible, because single entities are weird. So, that's all the rules are trying to prevent. But if you have multi-entity models, you can cycle charge, I believe. So long as they're multi-entity units, yeah, okay. But yeah, as long as something somewhere is trying to do something, you're obeying the attacking rule. Dude, I've lost so many games to swapping out a unit at the last second. Shit's unreal. Okay. One second. I think the final is done because one of the finalists was typing in tourney opponent, but neither of the finalists sent me a replay or told me how it went. So now I'm just trying to track down that final before I cast filler replays or something. Because if it's ready, then I want to cast it so people who just want to know how this tournament ends can go to bed. Okay. So, if we cast games, there are 5 left to cast that people have sent me. I would like to cast those, but I would like I said, I would like to cast the final first so that people who are just here to see how the tournament goes can go to bed. While I wait to see if those players are actually done or if they're not done yet, then I will. I'm gonna grab a drink while I let them give me a response, but BRB. Probably 2 hours. Oh yeah, both of our people ended up fighting each other in the quarterfinals. My person beat yours and then lost right after. But yours got far.
How did Dr. Bird do?
He did alright, but he had to go to bed. It's school night. So he dropped.
How did Hazel's person do?
Hazel's person?
Yeah.
Oh god, who did Hazel pick? I don't remember. They probably did fantastically because Hazel picked them. Okay, well I gotta go. Love you too. Okay, get in or get out. There you go. Alright. I'm back. I'm back. I sent you the Warriors of Chaos one that you haven't casted yet. Where is it? I don't have it. I'll find it in my DMs with Doombear. Okay, they haven't started yet, so we're going to cast a random replay. Where's the Chaos versus Wood Elves? Gotcha. There it is. Okay. Our finals, they have not started yet, which is fine. I have other replays to cast, so if you are staying up late for this, then I apologize. But we'll cast ourselves a game. Ooh! Oh, that is spicy. Do you remember when Bellicor was mega strong and used to consistently soul carry games? Those were the dark times. But yes, I do remember that. Alright. Casting some games till we get to our finals. This is Koala Duck versus Frond. From the Swiss stage. And they said, now, Frond did take some silly units, Malevolent Treekin and Malevolent Tree Men and Dryads and stuff. Those are campaign exclusive, though after the game, the players worked it out and just said, hey, in the future don't do that, but for this game it was fine. So the Malevolent Tree Men have Frenzy, and I think magic, well, I think actually usual ones have magic damage too. I don't know what they get. These other Malevolent Tree Men also have Frenzy, so it's an entirely like frenzied up Tree Men frontline from the campaign versus Durthu? Oh, okay, not versus, with Durthu. Yeah, Durthu has Flock of Doom and Sword of Daith for just massive AoE damage. 2 triple gold chevron Malevolent Tree Men, a frontline of Malevolent Tree Kin, 4 Dryads, and that is it. On the other side, for the Warriors of Chaos, we have 2 Chaos Warhounds with Poison, 3 Chaos Knights of Tzeentch, the Knights of the Brazen Throne, Skull Crushers of Khorne, a frontline of Chaos Warriors, and Archaon the Everchosen with Burning Head and Searing Doom. He is in for a rough time. Without halberds, these Treekin are actually going to be really tough to take out. Like, really, really tough to take out. One of the finalists was messaging me, ready, good luck, have fun, and I messaged him, I'm like, I'm not your foe. Leave me alone. Anyway. Yeah, the Warriors of Chaos frontline is getting slammed right now. Those Chaos Warriors are all having a terrible time. Meanwhile, the Warriors of Chaos are trying to bail them out with rear charges from Dogs and Chaos Knights of Tzeentch. They're getting decent damage down, but not a ton. They aren't armor piercing. The Knights of the Brazen Throne, with their fire damage and armor piercing, might have to try and carry this game. As the Chaos Warriors, already some of them were terror routing briefly, now they're back. I keep getting that. Are these trees normally allowed in multiplayer? No. No. One of the players took them by mistake, and then after the game, the players worked it out on who wins or loses, but they just wanted me to cast the game anyway, which is fine by me. Durthu is fighting Archaon. Durthu is a better melee combatant than a lot of people remember. Okay, 1 second. Sorry, one of the finalists is asking me a lot of questions. So, I'm really sorry for the delay. Any further questions, I'm going to direct him to one of my mods, which I've already directed people to my mods, but he's asking me anyway, which happens. Anyway. Distracted. Mildly annoyed. Anger. Rising. Okay, what are we doing? What's happening? Knights of the Brazen Throne fighting Malevolent Tree Men, Chaos Knights of Tzeentch, and Dogs also fighting these Malevolent Tree Kin. Everything's malevolent these days, I suppose. None of the Tree Kin are routing yet. With the mobility advantage that Koala has, anything that does route should be chased down. Should be. Should. Maybe. Possibly. Malevolent Tree Kin fighting it out, but a Flock of Doom hits 3 units, and the Malevolent Tree Man is fighting with the Knights of the Brazen Throne. If they can push those guys off, they'll be kind of safe to win this game, I think. Because Knights of the Brazen Throne, like we said, are the only real armor piercing that the Warriors of Chaos have besides Archaon. Archaon's kind of busy trying to kill Durthu. Do you know anything about the lore of Durthu? Is it interesting? I don't know that much about him, to be honest. A burning head is cast from Archaon off in the distance. It looks a little weird, but honestly I don't hate it. He's trying to get the Kindle Flame passive up for himself. And for the Knights of the Brazen Throne. And Searing Doom and Burning Head both clear out infantry and stuff, which there are, like, literally none of on this roster, so he has no good targets. He might as well cast a spell somewhere to give his army the buffs. Yeah. Archaon fights back with some Malevolent Tree Men. Balance power is going a little bit into the favor of the Warriors of Chaos. One of the Malevolent Treekin is routing. Another one is close to it. Dryads are routing in the distance, and dogs will have to sweep them up, but they're actually allowed to come back for now. How are our Warriors of Chaos friends doing? Half health, 3/4 health, full health Chaos Knights of Tzeentch, and then a full health Knights of the Brazen Throne. Archaon, however, is not feeling the love right now. He's down to about a 1/3 HP, and he's fighting a Malevolent Tree Man that's whooping his ass. He's going to have to back off. And he's trying to, but he's actually stuck on a Tree Man. Coadil greater than Durthu? Coadil is greater than Durthu. I think that's just facts. I think Durthu is better. He's a better person. Although Durthu's not even a good person, so... I don't know. Coadil's like straight evil. Durthu is mostly evil. Depends on your perspective, but... whatever. Durthu would kill you as soon as look at you. That's as much as I know about his lore. He's a very, very angry tree. He's not a nice tree at all. You must say you're really enjoying this two-player tournament. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. There have been some close games. There have been some good builds. I have no idea how this is going to go. This isn't the fastest, most blood-pumping game I've ever seen, because it's a bunch of fucking 90 million armor units, but oh... okay, that didn't do as much damage as I worried. It is very close, because these Malevolent Treemen and Durthu can do a lot of damage, but Durthu is getting worked on by the Knights of the Brazen Throne right now. They're doing darn good damage as they leave this one Malevolent Treeman in the dust. Cavalry backing off, they need to reset their charge bonuses. Durthu's the most angry. Durthu's still getting charged. Malevolent Treekin taking some damage. They're getting low on leadership. We do have some terror. Are they ITP? No, well, yes, they are ITP. Okay, so they can't terror out. They'll have to naturally route. Malevolent Tree Man is once again charged. Flock of Doom overcast hits all of the Chaos troops. And Slayer of Kings plus Cycle Charger from Archaon trying to get rid of these guys. The last of the Malevolent Treekin might just route. But is there enough left in the Chaos tank to kill these 3 big tree single entities? Ha, the 3 big tree. Alright, 1 full health Chaos Knight of Tzeentch is rejoining the fight. Another is 1/4 HP. Another is pretty much dead. Knights of the Brazen Throne, a 1/3 HP. And Archaon's more like a 1/4. For the big trees, 1 is full HP, 1 is just above half, and Durthu is down to about 1/4 as well. He does probably have more Flock of Dooms that he could spam out onto these knights. You might want to undercast them, because Durthu's health is the most valuable asset you have at this point. If you overcast, you're risking that thing. One of the Chaos Knights of Tzeentch does route off. Other one's taking big damage, and the Knights of the Brazen Throne are back in once again. And the Malevolent Treemen are not unbreakable like Coadil is. So they could route. Archaon's back in, trying to offer some support. I saw a big chunk under Durthu's health, so that must have been Archaon. Malevolent Treekin routing, getting chased off by these knights now. Dogs are back in the distance. There's no Chaos Warriors left to provide any chaff, but Durthu gets slapped down by the King of Kings. Archaon. Lord of Chaos. Lord of the End Times! Even if it devolved into an OP Dragonfest? Yeah, those were fun events. I haven't had as much time to run the for fun events recently. I've just been doing more serious shit, which is fine. New player tournaments are important to grow the scene and get more people playing, and then we can have more events and more players. So, happy to do it. I fondly remember my own times in the new player tournaments of my son HW. Knights are cycle charging. I'm going to play this on ×2 speed at this point. And the Malevolent Tree Man taking a ton of damage from Archaon, but they do rout off another one of the Knights of Tzeentch. Now they just want to swing at anything. They shouldn't even get attack orders. They should just swing at whatever's nearby. Knights of the Brazen Throne taking damage. Balance power is still pretty even. Slightly favored for the Warriors of Chaos, but some Tzeentchian Knights get running further. And one Malevolent True Man is about to rout. Archaon's still throwing out Searing's Dooms just to give himself and the Knights of the Brazen Throne extra damage. But his Knights are taking a lot of damage. Terror Rout turns into not a real rout just yet from the Knights of Tzeentch. And it is one very Malevolent Tree Man versus some very haggard Knights. But he is taking a ton of damage. He's got to find a way to get rid of those Knights of the Brazen Throne. Because if he can get rid of them, he'll be much better off. They're at 2 leadership, though, still dealing that fire damage to him, and he can't fight Archaon alone with all these guys nearby. There we go. Every knight has routed off to abandon Archaon. And Archaon gets one last cycle charge out. Slayer of Kings is up for one more second. Now it is down. It's just Archaon versus the tree. 3,800 HP to 2,029. And somehow this tree man keeps missing Archaon. Some knights are trying to come back. Archaon's still trying to cycle charge out a little bit. There, he takes a big thump to the chest, and he hasn't hit this tree man in a while. Next couple shots miss from both players. Tree man's still swinging, still missing. Archaon's still swinging, still missing, and we do have some knights who tried to come back. Now they can't. Archaon's still stuck in melee combat with this thing, and dogs are coming back. Hello, dogs. I wouldn't be shocked if they routed right away, but they allow Archaon at least time to get one more cycle charge back in. Knights of the Brazen Throne have rallied, Tzeentchian Knights have rallied, and the dogs shatter off. Archaon thinking about charging back in yet again, but instead is going to go rejoin his knights for a bit. A bit dubious Archaon cycle charging. I was thinking that too, Jack Norman, but I think those dogs were coming because they came from off screen. Alright. Archaon's back to fighting, but he takes a nasty thwap to the face from this Malevolent Tree Man who's down to sub 3,000 HP, but man, he is putting a slap down on Archaon. Balance power is heavily favoring the Warriors of Chaos, and I'm wondering, is it missing something I'm not? As there's dogs way over there. Archaon's still trying to cycle charge, and the Knights of the Brazen Throne might rout soon, but the Malevolent Tree Man just takes too much damage, and then he's going to army loss. Or is he? What the fuck? Okay, that took forever. Alright, that was lit. 3,200 for Archaon, 3,400 for the Knights of the Brazen Throne. Tzeentchian Knights did okay. Chaos Warriors really struggled. They got massacred by those trees. And for Frond, now you know why. Koala Duck was like, hey, you can't take the campaign exclusive units, but since you lost, it's fine, but just a heads up for the future. Durthu, 3,800 value. The Malevolent Tree Men with their triple gold chevrons both did pretty darn well. Malevolent Tree Kin did okay, and Dryads got wrecked. But Koala did really want me to cast that one. Still don't have a replay from finals just yet. So while we wait, let's take a look at these and see if any builds call out to us. We've seen a decent amount of Slaanesh today. More Slaanesh, whoa. Oh, it's Shocky, okay. Shoxy's just repping that Slaanesh life. Lizards versus Vampire Coast. Haven't seen a lot of Vampire Coast, though we have seen a ton of Lulu Snuggle Bun. We didn't get to watch a lot of Harris. Let's watch Harris versus Slaanesh. Let's do that. Shoxy on Slaanesh, not bringing Nakari for once today. Versus Harris on the Greenskins. Alrighty, Roo. For the forces of Slaanesh and Shoxy, we have an Exalted Keeper of Secrets of Slaanesh, with Phantasmagoria and Pavane of Slaanesh, plus the Lash for 3 spells. We have some Marauder Horsemen of Slaanesh, a Soul Grinder, frontline of Marauders with Spears, including the Princess of Perfection. We do have the Bringers of Beguilement, Exalted Demonettes, Regiment of Renown, and then we do have a Cultist of Slaanesh, on the War Shrine, which is a Mortis Engine that charges up with nearby enemy deaths. Other than that, we have a summon for Demonettes and Slippery. For the Greenskins, we have a very, very dead Night Goblin Squig Hopper, a front line of Goblins, a secondary line of Orc Boys, and then some Archers. 2 Goblin Archers, 1 Night Goblin Archer Regiment of Renown, Rusty Arrows, 1 Savage Orc Boar Boy Biggin, 1 Boar Boy Biggin Regiment of Renown, Orc Shaman with just Fists of Gork and Gaze of Mork, a Rogue Idol, and Grom the Paunch. Alright, Marauder Horsemen of Slaanesh took a lot of damage in their little fight with the Night Goblin Squig Hoppers, but now they're on to Goblins. They will lose that trait, especially with Savage Orc Boar Boy Biggins charging in, so that is one of the Slaanesh Skirmish Cav dead and gone. Elsewhere, Orcs and Goblins, nicely layered. They're not all running in at the same time and blobbing up, they're just kind of taking up a lot of space, and even if Slaanesh gets through the front line, there is something there to catch them. Rogue Idol gets a duel with the Exalted Keeper of Secrets. He'll win it if they just both stand and fight. He has twice her HP, so that's not really a fair fight, but if she cycle charges, if she gets some help from nearby units, maybe she'll be okay. The Rusty Arrows firing onto these Marauder Horsemen of Slaanesh, who are stalled in a very bad spot and are going to rout quite swiftly. A Wah is out. Meanwhile, Phantasmagoria tries to stop this front line, tries to get them to rout, but unfortunately the ITP from Wah is really keeping these Goblins in it, and a rear charge from the Orc Boar Boy Biggins. I'm really liking Harris's play. I think out of the players in this new player tournament, they're in the top 3 mechanics-wise. I think they ended up in a bad matchup, and that got them knocked out in the post-Swiss stage, but watching their games, like, they clearly have a very good handle on how the game's supposed to be played. Alright, Rogue Idol still fighting it out with the Soul Grinder and the Exalted Keeper of Secrets. He's down to half HP. He is getting slapped, and there's a Demonette summoned underneath him, so he's having a bad time, but Archers, meanwhile, are offering a lot of support, and it forces the Exalted Keeper of Secrets and the Soul Grinder out to go do other things. Meanwhile, Slaanesh's front line is completely fallen apart under the Greenskin matchup. Exalted Keeper of Secrets down to half-ish HP as Archers continue to poke them down. Orc Boys rout off those Skirmish Cav. And the Rogue Idol is just fighting some Demonette summons. The summon will fade away on its own, but the Rogue Idol can take them out sooner than that with demonic instability, so might as well. 1 Goblin Archer is completely safe in fighting the Mortis Engine. The Mortis Engine is only charged up 76%, still quite a lot. Maybe they can take him out before he gets really going. Slaanesh is very rapidly becoming just a, oh, hello. Bringers of Galment were somewhere else. I think they were chasing off those Night Goblin Squig Hoppers, but that was definitely not a good use of their time. They're joining the fight late. Better late than never, but late is still quite late, my friends, as they take a big charge from the Boar Boys and Grom the Paunch. They're causing some rampages over there, but it might not be enough. Cultists of Slaanesh taking damage from those Archers, still trying to heal up a little bit. 83% on that Mortis Engine. Actually, he doesn't have any healing, does he? It's the Sorcerer. The Sorcerer has healing if he casts spells. Ooh, Soul Grinder gets worked down by something. I think it was a Savage Orc Boar Boy Biggins plus the Rogue Idol, and now the Exalted Keeper of Secrets is right behind him on the whole gonna crumble away to nothingness train. The ROR Demonettes are doing their best, but army losses is a force no one can resist. That's where you're wrong, Mr. Streamer. Oh, no. Did they have double Mortis Engine? It does not look like it. No, it doesn't look like they did. Also, hi, Austin Harris. Are you this Harris? Because if you're this Harris, then I liked your play a lot. And if you're not this Harris, then I don't know. Send me a replay, and I'll tell you whether or not I like your play. But, yeah. Oh, wow, look at that Goblin value. 1,700 for a fucking Goblin Archer. That is insane. It's Slaanesh, they need the help. I don't know. I mean, Slaanesh needs help for sure, but Harris's greenskins all night have looked really, really good. I don't know. Their archer spacing is really good. Their infantry spacing is really good. Their rear charges are good. Their flank control is really good. Like, things are just... They clearly have a strong handle on what they're supposed to be doing with the greenskins. I am once again checking to see if we have our finals replay. I'm glad we live on the cube. Yes, Little Trill, we do live on the cube. Okay, still don't have our finals replay yet. So let's cast some other stuff. We literally just cast Harris and Flan a second ago, like 2 different games, so we just cast them. So let's get some other stuff. Lulu Snuggle Bun versus Dr. Antoyevich. Sure. We'll get some Dr. Nerd in here. Not so much expertise going on. Hey, Harris. The end result was super great. What would even make Slaanesh better? Almost all of their cavalry, besides Chaos Knights, needs significant buffs. Hellstriders, anti-large variant, need big buffs. Seekers need big buffs. Heartseekers of Slaanesh need buffs. Their chariots need buffs. Slaanesh's infantry is fine, and I say fine specifically. I wouldn't say it's great. I wouldn't say it's bad. It's fine. Their monsters are bad, but I'm okay with that. I think Slaanesh's identity, I'm okay with that. I wish Slaanesh's mobility was actually good to fulfill the promise. Because Slaanesh's promise is to be, like, super good on the flanks and stuff and dominate the flanks. And right now it's like, they don't do that. Their flanks are actually kind of bad. Okay. I have our finalist replay, so we'll cast this replay, then we'll pop over to the finals. TY. But for now, we will cast this one. All right. Colossadon Hunters for Lulu Snuggle Bun. Clearly likes them a lot. We have 2 Chameleon Stalkers in the Vanguard. And then, of course, because it's Lulu Snuggle Bun, you have to have the Shredder of Lustria and a Life Slime with Awakening of the Wood. Flesh Stone and Earthblood as well. Legion of Chakwa, 2 Swords, and a Sacred Croxsculptor. Final is done. Yes, I will cast that right after this game. For Dr. Nerd, we do have a front line of mixed halberds and regular deckhand mobs. Oh my god, okay. Well, we have Aranus Assault Spite with a net, a very, very clutch net. But what the fuck? Okay, no. We have to watch that in real time, so I'm going to cast the build real quick. Invocation Heck and Summons Caster, 2 hand cannons, 1 handgun, 2 more handguns in the back, Shade Wraith Gunners, and then Animate Hulks and Rotting Prometheans. So this shit is nasty. Look at this. With the Legion of Chakwa, this guy has 55% missile resist because of the Legion of Chakwa ability. He has 66% physical resistance from the Fleshed Stone. I am so curious how much damage this gun line is going to do. All right, the answer is not a lot. And the Legion of Chakwa's net even wore off, and they're still just, like, not doing that much. So this guy was netted in front of all these guns, and he's now down to half HP. Oh. I like it. Now, without the Flesh to Stone, you can see what should have happened to the Shredder of Lustria as he gets dominated. Completely fucking destroyed without all those buffs keeping him up. He is fucking dead. 1 minute into this game, the Shredder is gone. Meanwhile, in the back, the Shade Wraith Gunners are really close to crumbling as Chameleon Stalkers try and sneak their way in here, but they get caught on crabs and such. The front line of the Lizards is getting massacred. Colossadon Hunters getting shot on all sides right now. The Croxos are trying to push through. The Swords are trying to push through, but it's taking them too long, and the guns are doing so much work. 1 minute and 40 seconds into this game, the balance of power is already tickling army losses just a little bit. And now all of the Fury of the Vampire Coast is turned onto the Slan of Life. He is also going to rout any second now. Aranus is full HP. The Caster's like full HP. Everybody's chilling. Everybody's vibing. And even though the Shade Wraith Gunners might die, that is not enough. Because there goes the Slan. And if he dies, army losses will hit at 2 minutes, 20 seconds into this game. G fucking G. Look at how tiny that green sliver is, and still the game's like, they got it! That was a really cool build. I liked Aranessa there a lot. And then, I mean, the hand cannons. It's hard to hate. Lulu Snuggle Bun probably just loaded into that game and was like, well, GG. Fuck this shit, GG. Okay. If you're one of these three people and want to hear your game get cast, I will cast them. I'll cast them after the final. I don't have work tomorrow, so I can stay up. But for anybody who has been staying up specifically for the final, let's see who won the whole tournament. The Epic Dwarf versus, I always forget, Hard to Come By. And the Epic Dwarf is one of the Lizards versus Hard to Come By's Dwarves. Spooky. It is the Slayers Part 2, now with Gotrek versus Tehenowin. Wild World Warhammer? Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So the player asked me ahead of time. He deployed his entire force in the forest. You might be like, I thought you said no forest camping. Camping is different. If you're moving up within the forest, you're not camping. Now, this does lead to a weird rules technicality that I'll explain while the dwarves move up here. If your opponent's entirely in the forest, you don't have to attack. But as long as they're moving towards you, they're not breaking the rules either. It's a weird gray area that very rarely comes up. And when the player asked me about it, I was like, oh God, I mean, you're technically right, but Jesus Christ. Don't make me do this. So, yes, the dwarves are moving up through the forest. They're not forest camping, and the lizards are like, where the fuck are the dwarves? Meanwhile, for the builds, while we sort this out, we have two Ripperdactyl riders. Tehenowin on his Sunlight Laser Dino with Wissen's Wild Farm and Flock of Doom. We do have a Rev Crystal for some healing, two Croxagores, a front line of Red Crested Skinks, two Chameleon Skinks, and a Saurus Scar Veteran on foot with just Foe Seeker. On the other side for the dwarves, I'll hit fast forward after I'm done casting the builds, don't worry. We have some Slayers, Dragonback Slayers, Giant Slayers, more Giant Slayers, Dwarf Warriors, the Grumbling Guard for that AoE Vigor replenishment thing, Felix, Gotrek, Dwarf Warriors, and Ungrim Iron Fist. Alright, I'm going to fast forward a little bit while the dwarves make their way out of the forest. Unless this whole replay is going to take place there. First laser is out, the dwarves dodge it. The lizards actually just decide to take the fight in the forest. I think the dwarf just got tired of waiting. Can you wait for your opponent to exit the forest? Yes. If your opponent camping in the forest is forcing you to engage, you don't have to engage because you don't have to run into the forest. But if they're sitting in the forest and they're firing out at you, that would be a rule break. If they're moving up through the forest to get to you, that's fine. It's weird. Very rarely does anybody put their whole army in the forest, and it leads to the whole fucking thing. But anyway, the dwarves were trying to advance. It's fine. The lizards didn't have to charge them, but they did. They probably just got impatient. Giant Slayers fighting Red Crested Skinks and Croc Scores. The armor piercing is almost entirely wasted for the lizardmen on this build, but whatever. I mean, you can't expect that he's just going to bring all fucking Slayers. Ripperdactyls should still be fine. Their anti-infantry will do well. I don't know if they want to deal with the hero core this early on. They should probably focus on killing everything off and deal with the hero core last. Because Felix is going to heal them up, and meanwhile the Slayers and Dwarf Warriors and stuff are going to deal damage. Lizardmen are ahead on the balance of power, because Giant Slayers are expensive, man. These are 1,200 gold units. This is like a Knight at the Blazing Sun, or a Questing Knight that's taking this much damage. It's weird to think about that with infantry, but it's also like, it's like a chosen, right? Giant Slayers are like chosen cost. So when you see one on that side already dead, you see one over here already almost dead, that's a lot of damage. Dragonback Slayers and other Slayers fighting alongside Ungrim and Felix as they chase down Tehenowin. These Crocscores are doomed. These Crocscores are sitting in two different units of Slayers next to a Slayer Lord. They are going to have the worst day of their little Crocscore lives. Gotrek is beating the piss out of the Saurus Old Blood. And Ripperdactyl Riders are trying to chase down the Grumbling Guard. Elsewhere, Chameleon Skinks continue to kite out against Giant Slayers. This Giant Slayer is finally dead. Lizardmen can move over and help out. Now, the longer this game goes, the better it is for Lizardmen. They do have a Rev Crystal, which is a good number of healing, and Tehenoan can spam out Flocks of Doom and whatnot the longer this goes. Grumbling Guard getting isolated by the Ripperdactyl Riders is a great trade for them. That is one of the few armored units on this map right now that's not a fucking Slayer, so it's a good pick for them. Here comes the laser. Will the Dwarves dodge it this time? It looks like not, as it is going to nuke down all these Slayers, doing less than stellar damage. Some, but not a lot of damage, for considering how hard it is to hit that fucking thing. But I appreciate the chadness of actually hitting it for once. Ripperdactyl Riders moving out. Gonna go rear charge the Dwarf Warriors. Once again, armored units for once, so their armor piercing is actually useful. And they're not unbreakable, so rear charge in from Tehenoan could actually do good damage. Sword Scar Veteran's gonna get left behind in the dirt, and the triple hero hammer will beat the piss out of him. He'll probably be dead in a couple of seconds. Elsewhere, Giant Slayer's almost dead, Grumbling Guard almost dead, more Slayers almost dead. And on this side, regular Slayer's almost dead, Dragonbacks still have a bit of love left to give. Croc Scores and Red Crescent Skinks trying to fight it out. Dwarf Warriors are routed off, and quickly our triple Dwarven hero hammer is becoming all that's left for the Dwarves. And do the Lizards even have enough to kill them? Ripperdactyls are strangely terrible at killing single entities on foot. It's just not their purview at all. Ripperdactyls getting Wiston's Wild Form and the Red Crystal healing. More damage, more armor. And Tehenoan's even cycle charging in a little bit. Okay, Tehenoan, get it. Dragonback Slayers and Slayers trying to rejoin this fight after they peeled off those Red Crescent Skinks and Croc Scores. Other Slayers are dying to Chameleon Skinks. And how's the Hero Hammer doing? Not great. Gotrek's actually at half HP, and Felix is almost routing. And sure, Tehenoan's taking damage, but whatever. We have a Red Crystal, we don't give a shit. Flock of Doom hitting these Slayers on their way out. Pretty decent damage. Tehenoan's going to get away, refresh his charge bonus, maybe. Maybe just charge the Grumbling Guard for a bit. Ripperdactyls also probably need to pull out, though. They're getting a little too deep. Our Slayers are running out of models. The Dwarves are down to 59 models total, while Lizardmen are still at 402 out of 700, so they actually have lost very few models. But those Ripperdactyls are out of HP. There's nothing left for them. Wiston's Wild Form is cast on the healthier one, which is definitely the better choice, though. They're getting chopped up. Ungrim also down to half HP, though. Both of the Slayer characters taking a lot of damage. And if Felix can ever be routed, and Tehenoan's going over there, too. Yeah, if Felix can ever be routed, then the healing for the Dwarves is just gone. And they're much more beatable. Felix is getting very close to Terror routing. Karagul right now giving him a bit of buffs. Chameleon Skinks coming back in after killing off all the Slayers elsewhere. The Grumbling Guard are holding on for now, but all the Slayers are dead. All the Slayers are dead. The only infantry left is the Grumbling Guard. Felix is down to half HP and he's routing off. Gotrek and Ungrim are both very low, and it looks like the Lizardmen have done it this time. Red Crested Skinks paired up with Tehenoan is enough. Army losses takes Felix out, so now it is just Gotrek and Ungrim that you have to deal with. Tehenoan charges in, knocks Ungrim over, and the Ripperdactyls are going to rejoin the fight. But I don't think it will be enough. I don't think the Dwarves can win it yet again. And the epic Dwarf fighting against the Dwarves killed the Dwarves to win the new player tournament. Unless Gotrek's heal procs and kills everything on the map. Yeah, GG. GG. I wonder what was doing all that damage. I mean, I guess Tehenoan. 2,600 value for him. 1,700 for each of the Ripperdactyls. One of them got actually 1,800, if we're being fair. Red Crescent Skinks did okay. Croc Scores did okay. Red Crescent Skinks, Chameleon Skinks also did fine. Dwarves, I mean, Ungrim and Gotrek did alright. The rest of the Slayers really struggled. They really struggled. But that was the final. The Epic Dwarf did win for the night. Before you peace out, if you're just looking for good content, we have 3 more replays I'm going to cast here from this tournament. But that was the final. If you were just waiting for that, then you can feel free to go to bed. Thanks for hanging out with us. If you're just looking for some games, then continue to chill with us. the Epic Dwarf. GG to everyone who played. And congrats to the Alright. GG's to the Epic Dwarf. Promoted to a Bone Ripper. So the Epic Dwarf is the winner? Yes. Yes. He won the whole thing. Now let's finish out the cast people sent me. Since I see Tremor in the chat, let's cast Tremor's game. Tremor versus Shocky. Another Slaanesh game from Shocky. I think that Shocky, if you're still in the chat, correct me if I'm wrong, all 4 of your games are Slaanesh, right? You had Nakari, Exalted Keeper, Siggy. I'm sorry you have to work, little troll. Alright. For the Tomb Kings. At least I got knocked out by the overall winner. Yeah, the Epic Dwarf's pretty good. He also has really strange builds, and he's just kind of a... I don't know if he's memeing or if he's being serious, but like he's got some strange tech. Anyway, you gotta focus on this game, guys. Come on, focus up. 2 skeleton horse archers, 2 skeleton horse men. We do have 1 carrion. Grand Hierophant Kotep on his DJ booth, 2 Shocky Greatbows, one of which is Chosen Gods. We have a Bone Giant, Nakar Warriors, and the Kepler Guard, and then a front line of Skeleton Spearmen. For the Dark Prince, nice. Which lord is your favorite? Oh, okay, you're talking to Shocky, not me. I don't have to answer shit. For Shocky, we do have the Allurus and the Eternal Entourage in the Woods, Bane of Slaanesh and Lash of Slaanesh. Okay, sorry. I got distracted. That one's just on me. I have no excuse. So for Shocky, we have a front line of Devoted Marauders of Slaanesh, some with Hell Scourges, some with Whips, Sigvald the Magnificent, and then a single Seeker Chariot with 2 Exalted Demonettes, one of which is the Arwar. Now we saw earlier how hard the Tomb Kings can have a time killing a single entity on foot, and Sigvald is certainly that. With healing, a shield, and really good damage output, Sigvald is brutal for them to take out, especially without Arkin, which is why at a lot of the high levels of play, you're usually going to see Arkin the Black in like 75% of games, is because he covers their one weakness so well. Like, Tomb Kings just cannot kill foot characters, and Arkin's like, Spirit Leech says otherwise. Secret Chariots are in. Secret Chariots run into braced spears. They unfortunately cannot get through that, and the Charge Reflection is doing decent damage to them, and now they're going to take a lot more as those Skeleton Spearmen get back up and start poking them. Secret Chariots already down to half HP. Elsewhere, the Slaanesh infantry are going for a bit of a jaunt into the woods. They're chasing down some Skeleton Horsemen, and actually do manage to rampage one of them. But I'm worried too many of their infantry are elsewhere, but a really nice sneaking through the woods. The Eternal Entourage do find their way onto the Chosen of the Gods without anybody here to help. Nakar Warriors will get here, but it might be too late for the Chosen of the Gods. Might just be. Bane of Slaanesh trying to rampage those Nakar Warriors. And then a lash from the Allurus onto those Spearmen. Just getting some damage out. Sigvald is leading his front line to chew through the Tomb Kings. He's chosen the basic Usopp. You're having troubles. Look, they're trying to shoot at Sigvald, but they're just not having any good targets. Skirmish Cav is making these Demonettes pay a terrible price. But the battle is really spread out, and we can see micro mistakes slipping in from both players as the battle's just all over the fucking place. So wherever they're not looking, things are going to go to shit. Bound Skullstorm from Kotep is ripping through Marauders. Actually doing pretty good damage to that Marauder. Really fucked him up. So go Kotep, go. Doing good work. But the Eternal Entourage did finish the Chosen of the Gods, like we mentioned. They're crumbling now. I don't foresee them escaping this situation. The Allurus is nearby to help out if they really need it. Bone Giant's firing away. The Tomb Kings are actually up on the balance of power, though, because of how badly they massacred the Slaanesh front line. The rest of the Slaanesh front line is over there, but they're on the jaunt. They don't feel like coming back. Eternal Entourage charge over here to now start taking out this Usopp with the help of Sigvald, and it looks like we might get a Phantasmagoria to net everybody in this situation. No, I don't know what that was then. Oh, it's Usopp's Incantation of Desiccation. Interesting. It's not enough, though. I mean, these Shocky Great Bows are still going to get massacred, but it might make it easier for the Kepler Guard to get through a bit of Sigvald's HP, or to kill off these Heartseekers. Ushapti Great Bow, ROR, still technically alive, though it is still crumbling, so it'll go away eventually. And the Casket of Souls does a ton of friendly fire. That was a whoopsie. He turns away. He immediately turns away. He's like, nope, 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 nope. not dealing with it. Pavane of Slanesh to get damage onto the Kepler Guard. I don't think the Rampage was the point. I think he just wanted to cast it for damage and give his whole army the buffs of Slanesh. Exalted Demonettes have lost 3/4 of their HP chasing the Skeleton Horse Archer around. Yeah, 916 value. He's just been shooting that Exalted Demonette this whole fucking time. Bone Giant snipes Siggy. Siggy has been healing this whole time, so his heal cap's somewhere around the corner. He's not getting away for the scot-free. Cern's Incantation of Vengeance is cast on Sigvald. Unfortunately, that is a spell that's better versus units with a lot of models. And that Casket of Soul Volley actually did decent damage to him. Okay, alright. Another bound Skull Storms out onto the Votive Marauders. Tomb King still have a slight edge on the balance of power. Kotep probably has to focus on firing at the Bringers of Beguilement or the Heartseekers. That really needs to be his focus. Bone Giant is aiming. Does he have Guard Mode on? He does not. He immediately turns and starts fighting those Exalted Demonettes. Another Usern's Incantation of Desiccation, lowering the melee stats of all these guys, making them more vulnerable. Kotep's trying to fire into these blobbed up infantry, but aims at a side for some reason. That's not the player's fault, that's just Kotep being Kotep. Skeleton Horse Archers in the distance are kiting out against Spearmen. A nice lash of Slanesh hitting these grouped up Tomb King skeletons. Meanwhile, Skeleton Spearmen trying to fight back against the Eternal Entourage and the Exalted Demonettes. Better volley there from Kotep, routes off the Spearmen. And there's a good Incantation of Desiccation onto those Heralds, Eternal Entourage. Though the Alluress and the Eternal Entourage should be able to kill off Kotep. Even if the Eternal Entourage dies from his spell, I mean, like, the Alluress can beat his ass. Ushapti Summon is out, and they're trying to clear out the Herald. Why do I keep saying Herald? Everything's a Herald. Every unit is a Herald now. Anyway. They're trying to clear out the Exalted Demonettes, and they will. The Bone Giant's trying to fire downhill in the Alluress, and he got good damage down. But Kotep, like I said, dude, he's getting murdered by these units. It's just not enough. The Bone Giant's really trying to save his bacon, but it's not going to happen. The Alluress will finish him off, and Kotep dies yet again today, despite the Bone Giant's efforts. Now, an Exalted Demonette is fading away. The Eternal Entourage also faded away to kill Kotep, and the Devoted Marauders shattered. The Bone Giant is after that Alluress. He's sick of her shit. Gotta be a Herald or Sigvald, yeah. Those are good ones. Alright, Alluress, really close to demonic instability. Brings the Beguilement, low on HP. Meanwhile, the Tomb Kings are rallying all their forces. Slanesh really doesn't have that much left on the battlefield. None of these are Chaos Warriors, so all these are Marauders that could take decent damage. Honestly, if the Skeleton Horse Archers just, like, charge stuff around the battlefield, they could probably rout everything off before it ever comes back. Besides the Bringers of Beguilement. The Bringers of Beguilement are going to be here. Another nice lash. That is the last one the Alluress will be giving, though, as she is gone. There she goes, leaving Sigvald alone with his thoughts. Exalted Demonette ROR does rampage the Skeleton Horse Archers, which makes them fresh fish for all these Devoted Marauders. Where is Sigvald's heal cap? Oh, that was a good Bone Giant shot. Plus a really nice rear charge here from the Skeleton Horse Archers. Okay, you love to see it. That's a good combo. Immediately routes off those Marauders and gets the Bringers of Beguilement to that Demonic Instability crumble. Can they do it? Can they crumble? There it is. Demonic Instability will take them out, freeing up the Skeleton Horse Archers to chase other things around the map. Sigvald still being healthy-ish. We still have Kepler Guard regenerating up. If Sigvald's heal cap is, like, right around the corner, the Tomb Kings can win. Can. Not saying they will. If his heal cap's nowhere to be found, then yeah, they're super fucked. Everything for Slanesh is routing besides Sigvald. I don't even consider this guy to be real. Like, he's just so low that I don't think he matters. Kepper Guard taking some damage from Fascination. Sigvald fighting against the Bone Giant. Bone Giant trying to fight back a little bit. His melee stats are okay, but not amazing. And there's Sigvald's heal cap. Okay, we almost have the Sigvald we're gonna have. Not like, oh, you're fighting like 1.5 more Sigvalds. It's like, no, this is it. This is pretty much maxed out. Tomb Kings, their Bone Giant probably needs to kite away and get his last couple shots onto Sigvald, because those were actually doing decent damage. The Skeleton Horse Archers can help these Skeleton Spearmen get rid of the rest of these Devoted Marauders, but the Kepper Guard probably have to just keep bumping and grinding with Siggy. With the real Sig Shady. I'm going to times 2 speed, as much as everybody loves watching Sigvald try and solo a whole army. Setting up for a good little side charge here. Nice job from those Skeleton Horse Archers. And the Bone Giant is trying to get away, though. Sigvald's a fast little guy. He's doing okay. And wow, the Devoted Marauders hang on. They actually kill off Skeleton Horse Archers with the help of a tier 1 army ability, Fascination. And I am shocked those Devoted Marauders didn't get going. And yeah, it looks like Tomb King player is just going to surrender at this point. Afternoon, mate. Hey, Great Book of Grudges. Congrats on winning the tourney. I'm convinced it's you. Bone Giant and Kotep did good. Ushaptis really didn't. They got run down by the Heartseekers very quickly. Kepper Guard did pretty darn good. Hekar Warriors did okay. Skeleton Horse Archers did fantastically. Basic Skeleton Horsemen got cucked. Carrion got cucked. Well, did they? No, they actually almost paid for themselves. Never mind. Good job, Carrion. So GG there. For Shoxy, Sigvald, I mean, not a ton of value, but enough. Almost paid for himself. Did plenty elsewhere. The Allure-S, once again, getting good value. Shoxy is the only person that can make the Allure-S look any good. The Eternal Entourage did really, really, really well. Marauders were persistent, but unfortunately a little lacking. And Demonettes did fine. Secret Chariot got murdered. GG. Any unusual builds did I miss? Pretty much every game with the Epic Dwarf. And actually, yeah, dude, every build today has been so fucking weird. Okay? All of them. Just all of them. Spell, unit, etc. There were some weird spells. I mean, Lord Croak was taken, but yeah. Alright, to end it out, let's do Dog Ruler and Flom. And then Harris versus Flom. A lot of Flom. I know it isn't true, because Flom definitely got 4 games. But it feels like he got more than 4 games. I feel like I'm saying that name a lot. So final game of the night for Dog Ruler. This was played in the past. We're just casting the replay. More Tomb Kings action versus the High Elves. For the High Elves, we do have 2 Illyrian Reavers, 5 Lothern Seaguard, triple Swordmaster of Hoeth, and then a Prince and a Sun Dragon, the Prince being on a Sun Dragon of his own. For the Tomb Kings, we do have a nice spread out front line of Tomb Guard and Skeleton Spearmen. On the sides, we have some Skeleton Horsemen, 4 Skeleton Archers, 2 Screaming Skull Catapults, Ark in the Black on horseback with Spirit Leech of Fadabuna, and then the Chosen Gods and the Eyes of the Desert. The Swordmasters of Hoeth do have to move up and get into melee pretty quickly, because they're going to take a ton of damage from the Chosen Gods. Oh, Tremor. Thanks for the tourney. I'm super fun. I'm excited to try it again. Next time, the advice from the players to watch is very helpful. Cheers. Cheers. Tremor, did the audio get better? If you're still in the audience by the time this hits you, did the audio get better? Alright, we'll see what he said. Because I did attach it to a different piece of furniture, so hopefully it's not getting the vibrations that was annoying him. Anyway, Illyrian Reaver's going to get caught by Skeleton Horsemen on the far side. They will take a bit of damage. Illyrian Reavers are much better melee combatants than them, but it is a 2v1 and they got charged, so they're not enjoying it. How much is the difference between the Sun Dragon and the Star Dragon? I don't know. Both the Sun Dragons diving into the backline to shut down the Scream Skull catapults, and while they will, they might take a ton of damage for their efforts as all these archers and Sepulchre Stalkers, everybody turns around to fuck them up. Oh no. Oh no. The real question is, will it matter? Well, what matter? My audio quality? Oh my god. Yeah, dog, you messed up this prince. You murdered this poor boy. And the High Elves did not bring a caster, so that is their lord. He immediately FFs. I can't say I blame him at that point. Like, Frond just lost way too much value. He actually took a very similar build in game 1 of the entire day. Yeah. And that game was super close for Lizardman, but here, I mean, Dog Ruler just had really good focusing of fire, immediately massacred the prince. So that was unexpectedly short, but I mean, good clean game from Dog Ruler. No complaints there. And now the final game of the entire night. Harris versus Flan. Yet again. We can never have enough Flan, apparently. Let's do it. It is midnight here, so I'm glad for anybody who stuck around with us this whole time. If you're in the US, it must be pretty darn late for you. Even if you're West Coast, that's probably about 10 p.m. by now. But we still have 60 viewers, which is quite nice. Quite nice, quite nice. Either have some early morning viewers, or I don't know what time zone Australia's in. Australia's a weird, not real place. All right. For the greenskins, we have 4 goblins in the front line, 4 orc boys after that, some savage orc boarboy biggins, regular orc boarboy biggin, ROR, a stone troll, Grom the Paunch, and an orc shaman with Here We Go and Gaze of Mork. On the other side, we have 3 Treekin, 4 Deepwood Scouts with Shrift Shiver Shards, 3 War Dancers, 3 more Glade Guard, and then Durthu with Flockadoom and Manticore. Oh, Great Book of Grudges. You might enjoy, also in the stream, you might enjoy all of Lulu Snuggle Bun's games, because they keep taking Awakening of the Wood, which I don't know if you consider that a strange spell, but I do, because I think that spell sucks ass. But they take it every single game. Just got off work, you're happy to catch the final? Hell yeah! Alright. It's the Deepwood Scouts with the Shift Shiver Shards doing a lot of damage. Actually going to rout off 2 goblins before we really make contact. And the Treekin are beating up on this poor Orc Shaman. Stone Trolls are now fighting War Dancers without support. But I mean, if Durthu and these Deepwood Scouts all run up and beat up these Stone Trolls, they'll rout them very quickly. The Borbor Biggins are taking a long route, but I don't know if that was necessary. So what else we're going to have to do here is they need to separate. They need to separate out a lot. This is a hard tactic to pull off, but at this point, you're stuck with it. You have 7 fucking archers and nothing back here, so all your archers have to run a different direction, and when there's only 2 pig cav coming in, right? We have pig cav here, pig cav here. This is how I play Skaven, this is how I play Vampire Coast, this is also how I play Wood Elves when I have 8 Glade Guard as my backline. The backline needs to defend the backline, so if the Savage Orc Biggins attack this guy right here, the other ranged units need to be so far away that there's 7 of them, right? The other 6 can all turn and fire at this guy. Now, if this guy comes in, sure, he can disrupt another one. You still have 5. So you pick 5 of them. You have them all shoot at 1. I'd prefer the Savage Orc Boar Biggins because they have less armor and they're relying on physical resist, but you have magic damage, so you're fine. But right now, with all this stuff clumped up, if these guys actually do hit, they're going to probably disrupt both of these units. And if this guy actually hits, he's probably going to disrupt these 3. So that'll be a problem. Then this Glade Guard will be too close to shoot. It'll say something about being obstructed, and really your only DPS is going to be coming out of this unit. So, if you want the feedback. If you don't, then ignore me. Savagers are trying to get here. Deepwood Scouts are separating away from their Glade Guard, so that is good. That is really good. I like that a lot. See, now that's exactly what we think is going to happen, right? He tunnels in on these Glade Guard, he hits him for a bit, but then he's at the mercy of everything else, so these Deepwood Scouts can still do damage. Now the Boar Boys immediately peel off and start coming for this backline, but the Deepwood Scouts have to scatter. They have to get away from each other. Because now these Savage Arc Board Boys... But, like, look at this. This is exactly what you want. I mean, there's some stuff going on. I wish the Glade Guard were shooting back here too, right? But, like, this is what you want. Look how much damage these Savage Arc Board Boys are doing and how little they're actually getting done in return because the Deepwood Scouts are just firing in and they can't disrupt all of them at the same time. Meanwhile, the front line is going mixed. Very mixed. As the Boar Boys have joined in, now the Treekin are starting to take a lot of damage, and they are not enjoying that. The Orc Boys have replaced the Goblins that ran away, so I guess the Greenskins are overall winning the front line. On the back line, though, these Deepwood Scouts are doing a ton of damage. Savage Boar Boys pushed off. The Broken Tusk Mob's taking a lot of damage, too, and the Glade Guard are now turning around to offer support. Unfortunately, they're trying to shoot at Grom, and Grom is a tricky customer. He can take a lot of damage like that, but at a range, these Glade Guard are mostly missing, and they're honestly even hitting their own Deepwood Scouts, which is a bit unfortunate. So I think the Deepwood Scouts just have to focus on killing off these Boar Boys and buying themselves a little bit of space. Meanwhile, Durthu terror routes off the Orc Shaman, and he's going to turn and fight some Savage Orc Boar Boy Biggins. Balance of Power is about dead even, and a Lamentation of Despair hits the Savage Orcs for a little bit more damage as the Glade Guard continue to try to shoot at Grom. Grom's tough to hit. He's small on a chariot. He has resists. I would prefer you shoot at other stuff, because Grom's also going to regen. You just got to kill everything else off and then get Grom in the late game if you can. Or get him in melee, but range damage is really hard to kill Grom through. Savage Orc Boar Boys are back in it. Other Savage Orc Boar Boy Biggins have rejoined the fight as well, and like all of them are barely clinging to their leadership at the moment. Balance of Power is still slightly in the Wood Elf favor, and I don't know about that. I think I'm seeing a different game. As Durthu is walking away from Brown the Pond, she was routing off some Savage Orc Boar Boy Biggins. The second Wa is out. Probably the last Wa the Greenskins are going to get this game. Sometimes you can get a third Wa, but it's mostly in a very melee-heavy game, which this just isn't. Like, the Wood Elves aren't going to give you that third Wa. So, this is what they got. Once that wears off, Greenskins only get weaker from here, and Grom got dumpstered by Durthu before walking away. And a quick little Gaze and Work is going to poke our giant friend and do very little damage. Very, very little. Deepwood Scouts should be able to save themselves from this Broken Tusk Mob, but then these other two guys can come over and say hello. Glade Guard getting slowly worked down by Savage Orc Boar Boy Biggins. The balance of power is now starting to shift in favor of the Greenskins. I said you could also just have poison, get the same will cut as fire, yeah. Alright, nice overcasted Flock of Doom from Durthu, hits 3 units, that'll do some good poke damage. I was just checking up on chat. Just checking up on chat. Looking around, the Greenskins are now mopping up the last of the Wood Elf archers. And honestly, last of their infantry. Everything for the Wood Elves is routing right now except for Durthu and 2 War Dancers. One way over here, one way over there. I'm going to fast forward for just a teensy bit while Durthu finds a home. He finds that home and some stone trolls that he casts Flock of Doom on and immediately starts slapping, so they'll probably rout here in a second. There they go. And do the Greenskins actually have enough to kill Durthu? It's the Swamp Fangs. The Swamp Fangs are the only real thing they have left to fight him. I mean, maybe Grom, but if Grom actually has to just sit and fight Durthu, he's going to lose. War Dancers on the super far side are fighting back against Goblins with 62 melee defense and 16 melee attack, but with some bonus versus infantry of 12. They are able to get through those Goblins, so despite their tiny HP pool at this point, they should beat the Goblins and be just fine. More Wood Elves are starting to rally. They really need to group up around Durthu, though. The more isolated they are, the more the Greenskins can just cycle route them and run into them and do all that stuff, which is bad. Another Gaze and Work across the entire map hits Durthu in the face. Does a brisk 200 damage. The Savage Orc Boar Boy Biggins desperately trying to kill this tree kid. Can they kill this tree kid? Oh boy, they're trying. Glade Guard are back. They need to turn and fire. Right now the Savage Orc Boar Boy Biggins are running over to say hello to them. The Glade Guard now get orders to fire. They turn in place. 100 damage on it. Yes, they rout off the Savage Orc Boar Boy Biggins, and War Dancers in the distance rout those Goblins. So the Wood Elves getting a bit more spunk back in their step here. Stone Trolls rejoining Grom, and on the charge they should rout these War Dancers. They just have way more mass, so they'll do a lot more damage. Goodbye, War Dancers. Flock of Doom onto some Orc Boys. Sturthu still tries to carry from the center of the map. I don't know if an overcast was warranted there. A single target Flock of Doom, but... Okay. Glade Guard trying to poke down the Swamp Things a little bit. Just get some damage out. As Treekin charge in. Treekin are immune to psychology. They do not fear the Swamp Things' terror. But they do fear the Swamp Thing's clubs. Man, slapped. Durthu's still wandering around just fine. These boar boys that are rallying really won't matter too much. I think if they get close to Durthu, they'll just rout. Though I suppose if they get close to Durthu next to Grom, Grom has multiple leadership auras for them. Did he not bring language with the boys? Okay, he didn't bring language with the boys. Never mind. They might still rout if they're next to Grom. Ooh, that's a mistake. Grom leaving the Stone Trolls to fight Durthu alone. Without his leadership, they just falter. And Durthu is getting to the point where he's just going to start shattering stuff because it's routed too much. Like those Stone Trolls. They don't get to regen anymore. They shattered. Get fucked. So Durthu's just fine. I'm still really worried about the Swamp Things, especially if they're paired up with Grom. But that's really all that matters. All the rest is fine. Durthu can kill it off. See, those guys immediately rout with a Flock of Doom on their face. Degradans is here, tries to save them, but it's too late. And Axe of Grom is popped. Everything is popped. Grom has 128 melee attack with armor sundering, but he only has 30 melee defense, and Durthu is ready to beat his ass. Durthu don't miss. Grom's 40% damage resistance from the Lucky Banner is all that's keeping him alive right now as he takes hit after hit after hit. And he might have to back off. Durthu, though, is getting confused because he's trying to attack Grom, but Grom's behind all the River Trolls right now. And Grom is trying to path away, so Durthu does get some alone time with those River Trolls. Grom's pathing over. It looks like he's going to go kill some War Dancers as the Flock of Doom does hit both the River Trolls and these Orc Boys. And there's very, very little support left to help. So can Durthu kill off these River Trolls? Looks like they're trying to walk away. They're trying to regen up, but Orc Boys are gone. Grom is going to roll straight through our War Dancer friends. And another Gaze of Mork hits Durthu in the distance. What's the missile damage of the Goblin Wolf Chariot Pump Wagon? I don't know. I don't know. War Dancers trying not to rout for now, but there they go at last. River Trolls barely cleaning the leadership versus Durthu. Durthu just needs to swing. I don't know why he's T-posing like a dumbass, but he does need to swing. There he goes. He hits one of the River Trolls in the face. He has Lamentation of Despair every time it's off cooldown. Oh, that Gaze of Mork actually hit way more River Trolls than it hit Durthu. That's going to be brutal. I don't know if he has any Flocks of Dooms left. I don't know. He's missed a lot of attacks against these River Trolls in a row. He's just missing so much. He has 69 melee attack. How are you missing that much? I guess they have 50 melee defense. That's actually rather impressive. They're getting close to routing, though. They can't terror up from him because they also cause terror, but, I mean, they could naturally rout. As Durthu keeps swinging, he routs off the Orc Shaman, and nearby routing allies might cause the River Trolls to rout. Orc Boys also rout, and they shatter straight off the map. Balance of Power is strangely far against Durthu right now, as he desperately tries to get rid of these River Trolls. That's a big hit. That might get them to go 2 leadership left on them. Lamentation of Despair hits Grom, but the 2 leadership should get better now that Grom is here. Grom should be able to give them some buffs. But man, Durthu just can't get rid of these fucking trolls. He's trying so hard. Grom's even going to come in for a rear charge. He just can't get rid of them. These are the stickiest single-digit leadership trolls you've ever seen. Gaze of Mork hits Durthu in the back. Armulos is closing in for him as he turns around. Degradans here gives the leadership to the River Troll Hags, and they're going to be just fine. Balance of Power turning so far against Durthu, I think he's going to get Armulos at this point, but if he was unbreakable, he might just win this game. Unfortunately, he is not, and he will go down. That was a really, really good game from Flon. I mean, Harris won, so obviously he played better, but I just meant, like, we saw over the course of this, Flon had these, like, high elf builds where you just put him in a straight line, and he took, like, a high elf prince on a dragon with no caster. And the difference between those 2 games and this game was wild, so I don't know if they improved over the course of the tournament or if they were just fucking around with the high elves and they were playing serious with the wood elves, but, you know, if they played really good with the wood elves. I liked a lot of what they did. Had really good unit control and stuff, so that was really good compared to the high elf games. Which, I'm not trying to be a dick, I'm just saying, like, this game was really good. I liked it a lot. For Harris, good control of units, good understanding of regen. I didn't love the Stone Trolls got thrown away without Grom at one point, but after that, he didn't really leave the River Trolls to die. He came over with Grom whenever he had buffs, so that was fine. Orc Shaman just stayed safe and cast Gaze of Mork over and over and over and over again. So that was pretty good stuff. Yeah, it was a good game to end on. It was pretty solid. All right. That is it for the stream. We cast every replay sent to us, I believe, unless I just like missed some in the saving process, but yeah. GG's to everybody. And it is 12:13 here, so I'm going to get my little buns off to bed. If you are a new player out there and you partook in this tournament and you wonder when the next one is, or if you want to partake in a tournament, there's a new player tournament every week. I do flip off between 1 week is NA time zone, which was tonight, which is why it's so late at night for some of you. It's more friendly to the NA players after they get off of work. And then there is every other week after that is EU time zone, so it's middle of the day for me. But for EU, it's after they get off of work. We try to be accommodating for people. Now, I know there wasn't one in the Australian time zone, and that's because that is 3 in the morning for me. That is very hard to negotiate. I try at least twice a year to do an Australian time zone tournament, but it usually requires a lot more commitment on my end, like take a 3-day weekend to fuck up your sleep schedule and do it on like a Friday night for me, because that's Saturday for Australia. But yeah. Tomorrow we have a stream of a unit bans tournament that was voted on by the YouTube poll, so that should be fun. It is a tournament where after you know what your opponent's faction is, you can ban 3 units before the game starts. So let's say I'm playing against Bretonnia, I could ban Hippogriff Knights, Grail Knights, and the spell Regrowth. So could make the meta a little bit more fun. Thursday we have non-Warhammer stream. We have a tabletop RPG little mini one-shot adventure that could suck or it could be good, but I hope people enjoy that. And then Friday we have the Last Nation semifinal, Italy versus Spain, to determine the finalist to go fight East NA. That's what I have for you this week. 5 streams in 5 days. Hopefully it's good content you like. All right, get the fuck out of here. Oh, actually, last thing. Just a quick update. We are currently running the subscriber special, where every subscriber we get during the month of December, we give $1 to charity. As of right now, on the 12th of December, we have raised $157. That's not right. $170 for charity, and we're only a third of the way through the month, so if you aren't subscribed, do that. Because each one of you that hits that subscribe button, I add $1 to the pool. And if you unsubscribe January 1st, fine, you win. But January 1st, I'll just take a look at my subscriber count for December and, take the difference. Give that much to charity. So, should be fun. What tabletop RPG system are you playing? I made it up. The idea is 4 mafia hitmen get together for a job that their boss assigned to them. They're all like the best at what they do. And the job is to get a mystery briefcase in exchange for $40 million and bring that briefcase back to the boss. Should be pretty simple. The non-spoilers version is they show up at the apartment, everybody is dead, and the briefcase is not there. They gotta go find it. So, yeah. It should be a one-shot. Less than 3 hours long. Just kind of like a... It's a social experiment, though, because I gave each of the players a secret objective, where, to not spoil it, here's a different example. If the situation was you're stranded on a desert island, right? One of the players might have the secret, you have a bunch of food. Another player might be like, your secret is, you're a cannibal. You're just straight up a cannibal. And another player's secret might be, you actually know there's a boat just across the horizon? But you also know that the boat was coming to kill everybody and, like, get you out of there. So you don't exactly want to tell your friends that you're like, hey, there's a boat over there that's going to, like, murder you all. So everybody's got their own little secret reasons to do things. So in the briefcase thing, it's like, you know, all 4 of the players have a secret objective that I assigned to them, but you don't know who's what. So it could be interesting to watch them try and achieve their objectives while you try and figure out what they're even trying to achieve. So we'll see if it's any good. Maybe it'll suck. All right. I'm actually ending the stream now. See y'all tomorrow.